Chapter 61. After taking back the Yangchun stone, Cheng Yan gave the Lynx King another large piece of meat. This was agreed upon before. These 2 pieces of meat were enough for the Lynx King to live a life of eating and sleeping every day for a few days. Then Cheng Yan and the Lynx King separated. Now it was dark, and the Lynx King was full again. He was tired after a day, so he was not going to run around. He took 2 large pieces of meat, climbed up the tree with difficulty, and then began to rest. Cheng Yan went to see the Snow Leopard King, who was also resting in a place at this time. The rescued snow leopard was probably still in a coma because the anesthetic had not worn off yet. The Snow Leopard King was guarding beside him. After he went over, Cheng Yan was not stingy and took out another piece of meat and threw it to the Snow Leopard King. The Snow Leopard King had been running back and forth for a long time today, and his consumption was also quite large. Eating something at this time could also replenish it. Then Cheng Yan found a place to sleep casually. He was also tired today. It was just that Cheng Yan felt a little uncomfortable after falling asleep. He had a dream, and from time to time, the appearance of the poachers would appear in his mind, with dozens of poisonous snakes crawling on his body, and his skin was dark and poisoned. Cheng Yan even dreamed that a poisonous snake crawled on his body in his sleep, which scared him and woke up immediately. He opened his eyes and stood up to look at himself and the surroundings. He didn't find any snakes, so Cheng Yan was relieved. Damn, can tigers also dream? Or nightmares? Cheng Yan couldn't help complaining in his heart. He had been a tiger for so long, but this was the first time he had a dream. Before, he just fell asleep and didn't dream. Cheng Yan, who was awakened, took a look at the sky. It was still dark, and the system punch-in task had not been refreshed. It was probably only early morning. Cheng Yan couldn't sleep, so he just took advantage of the night to take a stroll. Although he was strolling, Cheng Yan didn't look around carefully, and he was thinking about things in his mind. The 8 poachers were dealt with, but there were other poachers coming and looking for him at the border. Cheng Yan had to think carefully if he wanted to deal with the other poachers. The poachers behind were at the edge of the Daxing Mountains. Although Cheng Yan was not too far from the edge, there might not be helpers there. The territories of the Snow Leopard King and the Lynx King were not far from here, so they could come to help, but it would be very difficult to get them to help. Especially the Snow Leopard King, who had a wife and 2 children. If it weren't for the capture of his kind this time, he might not have come to help. After all, for them, if it was not a threat to the tribe, they could basically ignore the mountain lions, unless Cheng Yan threatened them with force. The Lynx King was relatively better. He was a single lynx, without a wife and children to support, and was in a state where a cat just needed to eat. Maybe he could lure it with food, but Cheng Yan had used this method twice and gave 2 large pieces of meat, which was enough for the Lynx King to eat for several days. Now it has no shortage of food, and the success rate of continuing to lure it with food may be discounted. Unconsciously, he had been strolling for a long time, and the sky began to dawn, and Cheng Yan's punch-in task was refreshed. Since he hadn't figured out how to deal with those border poachers, Cheng Yan didn't think about it anymore. Now the most important thing was to punch in the card. Cheng Yan opened the system to check the latest punch-in task location, and unexpectedly found that the system seemed to be staring at him. This time the punch-in location was still some distance away from here, but very close to the junction of Bell Prairie and Daxing Mountains. Since the task was out, Cheng Yan decided to go over and take a look. If there were not many people, he could solve it by himself. If he couldn't do it alone, he would look for help nearby. After all, there weren't many other things in Daxing Mountains, but there were many animals. He could always find some animals to help. Cheng Yan did not say goodbye to the Lynx King and the Snow Leopard King, and left directly. The transaction with them was over this time. They had their own lives, and Cheng Yan did not want to drag them over and put them in danger. Running in the mountains and forests in the early morning, Cheng Yan's speed was getting faster and faster. His body size was a little bigger after a sleep, and his physical strength in all aspects was a little stronger. However, the check-in location this time was indeed a bit far away. Even with Cheng Yan's endurance, he took a few breaks in the middle. It was not until the afternoon that he ran to the check-in location. The check-in location this time was a cave. At first, Cheng Yan thought there was a brown bear king or other large carnivore king in this cave. After all, he had met kings of various races many times before. The check-in location this time was still a cave. Generally, where there are caves, there are some beasts living in the caves. Brown bears or black bears will hibernate in the caves. And this cave this time, it was still a check-in location. Cheng Yan certainly thought he would meet some powerful predator. But when Cheng Yan got closer, he found that there was no strong smell in this cave. Although there were some smells of various animals, they were very faint now. This meant that no animals had come to this cave for a while. Of course, the brown bear king that Cheng Yan thought of was not in it. After a careful search inside, he did not find any animals inside. Disappointed, Cheng Yan could only start to check in. He was still thinking about finding some helpers. This time, the check-in time was half an hour, and it was spent very peacefully. Cheng Yan got 2 attribute points. After the check-in was over, Cheng Yan was unwilling to search carefully in the cave again. He did not believe that there was nothing special about the check-in location this time. But Cheng Yan had searched for several times and did not find anything unusual. Just as he was about to leave, Cheng Yan's sharp ears suddenly heard a vague sound. Cheng Yan quickly pricked up his ears and listened carefully. Soon, Cheng Yan heard some of it clearly, but after hearing it, Cheng Yan secretly thought it was not good. The sound was the sound of people talking and dogs barking. Could it be poachers? Cheng Yan reacted immediately and ran out of the cave. His 5 senses were strengthened by the attribute points, and he was extremely sharp and could hear from a long distance. The voices of those people and the barking of dogs were at least dozens of meters away from him. If he didn't run out now, and those people followed his footprints to this cave, he wouldn't run out, then he would be in trouble. Being blocked in the cave is not a good thing. You know, the poachers before had guns, and Cheng Yan didn't think that these people didn't have guns in their hands. If he was really blocked, he wouldn't even have a place to run, and he would only be shot. Running out now is the best choice. Even if they saw him head-on, with Cheng Yan's speed, he might be able to run away. After all, this is still a mountain forest with many trees and many obstructions. It is quite difficult to hit a moving tiger. Chapter 62. Cheng Yan rushed out of the cave, and then ran in the opposite direction of the voices and the barking of dogs. Zhao! Tiger! White tiger! Is this white tiger the one we were asked to protect? Yes. That's it. Why did it suddenly appear from here and run away? Cheng Yan was running wildly, but the scattered words coming from his ears made him feel that something was wrong. Protect him? Above? Cheng Yan slowly stopped and turned his head to look back. I saw several people in police uniforms holding guns and leading 2 dogs, and the dogs were also in uniforms. Is this the police? I was shocked. I thought it was a poacher. I was going to be blocked, and I was so scared that I ran. Cheng Yan couldn't help but mutter in his heart after seeing it clearly. After seeing the white tiger, several forest police officers, one of the leaders, had already taken out the radio. Command room, Team 7 found a white tiger. Team 7 found a white tiger. Request support. Request support. Received, all teams gather at Team 7, pay attention to poachers, and report immediately after discovering poachers. Understood. The other teams replied immediately. The conversation here did not escape Cheng Yan's ears. Is it because the police knew that there were poachers coming to trouble me, so they came to deal with the poachers? Cheng Yan was a little surprised. He never expected that there would be such a thing. Now he doesn't have to worry about where to find helpers, and helpers have already come to help. Captain, this white tiger is staring at us. Is it going to attack us? A younger forest police officer looked at the white tiger staring at them with a serious face, and couldn't help but said to the captain who was reporting the matter. The captain quickly turned his attention to the white tiger. Just now, he saw that the white tiger was running out, so he reported it on the radio. Unexpectedly, the white tiger stopped and kept staring at them. Be alert. If the white tiger pounces on us, fire a gun to scare it first. If it fails to scare it, use a tranquilizer gun. Yes. The policemen nearby also looked at the white tiger with a serious look on their faces. Meeting a tiger head-on in the wild, even with a gun in hand, they were still very nervous, and they couldn't easily shoot the tiger to death, which made it even more difficult. Cheng Yan looked at the policemen who were staring at him nervously, thought for a while, and turned to walk outside, but slowed down a lot so that the policemen could follow him from a distance. His purpose this time was to find a way to kill the poachers. Now that there were policemen here, they obviously knew the existence of poachers, so there was no need to be so troublesome. Cheng Yan only needed to let the policemen find the poachers, and naturally they could catch them all. Those poachers came to find him, so he just needed to walk around here more and leave some traces, and those poachers would naturally come over. Team 4, the white tiger is heading in your direction, be careful. Received. Are there police in this direction too? Cheng Yan glanced ahead and hesitated. He didn't expect so many police to come. If there were poachers in this direction, they would have been discovered by the police long ago, so the possibility of poachers in this direction is not great. He wanted to change direction. There are many smells of various people around now, and he doesn't know which smells are from the police and which are from poachers. It's really difficult to find those poachers now. In the end, Cheng Yan decided not to change direction for the time being and just strolled around in the mountains and forests. Command room, Team 4 encountered a brown bear, Team 4 encountered a brown bear. The radio in the hands of the captain of Team 7 who followed Cheng Yan would occasionally report the news of each team, and Cheng Yan could roughly hear it, but the news this time was not good news. It has been a while since the beginning of spring, it is the end of February, and it will soon be March. At this time, some brown bears have woken up from hibernation. Brown bears that have just woken up from hibernation are the most ferocious, because hibernation consumes a lot of fat and energy in the body, and they are in urgent need of replenishment, so brown bears basically eat whatever they see. At this time, Team 4 somehow encountered a brown bear, and this news shocked the other teams in the command room. Team 4, pay attention to safety, you can shoot the brown bear when necessary. Team 3 and Team 5, go over to support Team 4. Understood. When the voice of the radio came out, the people of Team 7 inevitably focused most of their attention on the conversation on the radio because the news was a bit serious. Therefore, the people of Team 7 did not notice it at the first time. When the voice of the radio came, the white tiger had already run to Team 4. Fortunately, there were also some veterans in Team 7. They soon found Cheng Yan's running back. Seeing the running white tiger, they were also startled. The captain hurriedly reported to the command room. Command room, the white tiger ran towards Team 4, very fast. Team 4, please pay attention. Team 4, please pay attention. Cheng Yan's speed was very fast, and the direction he was heading before was the direction of Team 4, so it would not take long for him to reach the location of Team 4. At this time, Team 4 was confronting the brown bear. The brown bear did not get too close to the police officers of Team 4 because they had guns in their hands and the brown bear felt the danger. However, because he was too hungry and did not want to give up these two-legged beasts in front of him easily, the brown bear was still hesitating. Roar! At this time, a low tiger roar came from a distance, causing the brown bear to turn his attention to the direction of the tiger roar. The members of the fourth team had heard the news of the white tiger coming from the radio. They were helpless and nervous. A hungry brown bear was dangerous enough, and now there was a white tiger that could not be shot easily. This gave them a headache. Not long after, the members of the fourth team and the brown bear saw the white tiger running from a distance. When a huge white tiger is running towards you, no one will not be nervous. Even the policemen with guns in their hands were anxious at this time. However, what surprised them was that the white tiger did not seem to be targeting them. They just rushed straight towards the brown bear. The brown bear's reaction speed was not slow. It had already prepared for the battle. The brown bear's combat experience was much stronger than Cheng Yan's. Cheng Yan had not fought with other animals. The brown bear took the lead and slapped Cheng Yan, but Cheng Yan was fine. He slapped the brown bear's body with his backhand and slapped the brown bear directly. The police were stunned by the result. The brown bears in Daxing Mountains are generally ushery brown bears. The weight of females is generally between 90 and 360 kilograms, and the weight of adult male brown bears can reach 360–500 kilograms. This brown bear is an adult male brown bear, and its weight is generally over 360 kilograms, but it has lost some weight due to hibernation. But it still weighs 500 to 600 kilograms, and was slapped away by a tiger. They have never seen such a scene before. Chapter 63. The brown bear was stunned by the beating and lay on the ground for half a day without getting up. Cheng Yan walked leisurely to the side of the brown bear and stepped on the brown bear with his front paw. His hunting and fighting skills are not as good as those animals that live in the wild all year round. But his physical fitness is strong. He can crush them directly with speed and strength. This brown bear is such an example. What's wrong with poor skills? It crushes them numerically. If you hit me, I will be fine. If I slap you, you will have to lie on the ground. However, although he was not injured, Cheng Yan was still very painful when he was slapped by the brown bear. Therefore, after stepping on the brown bear, Cheng Yan roared at the brown bear. Team 4. Team 4. Are you okay? We heard the roar of the white tiger. Team 7, Team 3 and Team 5 were the first to contact Team 4. They are now very worried about the safety of Team 4. The captain of Team 4 took out the radio to reply. It's okay, the white tiger knocked the brown bear down, and it just roared at the brown bear. The white tiger and the brown bear fought. The other teams and the people in the command room were a little surprised to hear this news. They were quite worried when Team 7 said that the white tiger ran to Team 4, especially when they heard 2 tiger roars later, which made them even more worried. As a result, the white tiger helped them to deal with the brown bear. Seeing the brown bear admitting defeat and lying on the ground without moving, Cheng Yan thought about it and let it go. After all, it is a protected animal, although it is not a rare and endangered animal. However, even if Cheng Yan really wanted to kill the brown bear, it would be fine. He is now a tiger and does not need to pay attention to these legal restrictions. In addition, even if he killed it, he is a first-level protected animal and he is fighting a non-endangered protected animal. Who can say anything? Of course, Cheng Yan heard the conversation of Team 4 not far behind him. These forest police were obviously prepared to protect him and deal with those poachers. Of course, Cheng Yan had to protect them a little. These people were professionals in dealing with poachers, but he was a professional in the wild of the Daxing Mountains. Let the forest police deal with the poachers, and he would deal with the various wild animals. After all, in the Daxing Mountains, he basically wouldn't be afraid of other animals. Yet, except for the giant python, the big turtle, and the king cobra, he wasn't afraid of anything else. After making sure that the brown bear would not cause any harm, Cheng Yan walked aside and continued to look for poachers. But the words from the radio behind him surprised Cheng Yan for a moment, and he didn't have to rush to deal with the poachers. Command room, a team has found traces of poachers. Received, report the location, track carefully, and notify the armed police to come to support, pay attention to safety. There are footprints of poachers in Area A2, and the number of people is unknown. Understood. Have poachers been found? And there are also armed police coming? This time, the armed police were dispatched to deal with the poachers? Cheng Yan was very surprised. Generally, the police would come after the poachers called the police, but this time there was an armed police force. The force was quite strong. Cheng Yan wanted to go over and take a look, but he didn't know where the A2 area in the conversation was, and he couldn't go there. He couldn't ask the people in the 4th team next to him, which would scare them to death. There was no way to know the specific location, so Cheng Yan could only randomly choose a location and walk away. The 4 teams behind him also waited until Cheng Yan walked away before slowly following. When Cheng Yan walked, he kept his attention on the 4 teams behind him. Sure enough, he didn't walk for too long before he heard the conversation. Team 2, Behu went in the direction you are. Received. Is this direction the people of Team 2? Cheng Yan thought about it. He was walking northeast at first, which was Team 4. Now he was walking east, so he was Team 2. Then Team 1 was in the southeast? Cheng Yan's route deviated slightly and he began to walk southeast, his attention also focused on the 4 teams behind him. Team 1, the white tiger is coming in your direction again. Got it. Well, this time he was on the right track. Knowing the correct direction, Cheng Yan immediately sped up and left the 4 teams behind. After running for a while, Cheng Yan found traces and footprints belonging to humans. Cheng Yan stopped and looked carefully, but he didn't recognize whether these footprints belonged to the forest police or poachers. But it didn't matter, Cheng Yan only needed to find one of them, so Cheng Yan began to follow these footprints along the road. After walking carefully for a distance, Cheng Yan found several forest police, who also following the footprints on the ground, they were following the poachers. 2 of the forest police were on guard around, and when Cheng Yan appeared, they were discovered by them at the first time. Captain, the white tiger is following behind us. The captain of the first team immediately turned around and looked behind him, and indeed found that the white tiger was not far behind them. The appearance of the white tiger made them nervous for a moment, and they couldn't make up their minds. The captain of the first team could only report it to the higher-ups. Command room, the white tiger appeared behind us, the white tiger appeared behind us. Okay, I got it, I understand. After receiving the news from the command room, the captain of the first team immediately asked several people to stop tracking and walk to the side. Cheng Yan was a little confused. After the captain reported to the command room, what instructions did the command room give? He didn't hear it. Cheng Yan took a closer look at the forest police and found that they all wore headsets. No wonder he didn't hear the command room's instructions. Am I here to make trouble? Cheng Yan looked at the few people who didn't move, just looked at him warily, thinking a little helplessly. He didn't expect that his coming here would make these policemen behave like this. Fortunately, not long after, Cheng Yan heard a noise behind him. Dozens of well-equipped armed police appeared, and they were running quickly towards this side. Looking at the guns in their hands, Cheng Yan immediately hid aside timidly. Although he knew that they would not shoot him, he was a tiger after all, not a human. If he made any movements and they subconsciously shot, he would be killed in vain. After they ran away, Cheng Yan did not follow them. Now was not the time for him to join in the fun. So many armed police carried so many guns, and the poachers also had guns in their hands. It might be a chaotic battle at that time. If he went over and got hit by a few stray bullets, he didn't want to try whether his current body could withstand the power of the bullets. It would be better to wait here. It didn't take long for Cheng Yan to hear the sound of gunfire. It looked very intense, but the sound of gunfire only lasted for a while and then stopped. Is it solved? So fast? Cheng Yan was still a little confused. Is this poacher so weak? The gunfire only lasted for a while and then it stopped. Chapter 64. After a while, Cheng Yan saw the armed police coming back. Is this the end of the matter? After the armed police retreated, Cheng Yan slowly approached and saw the battlefield after walking for a while. A relatively open area, not many big trees, some trees have some holes, these are traces left by bullets, more than a dozen bodies fell to the ground, and there were several forest police from the fourth team standing next to them, they just went there with the armed police. What did the poacher do? Kill them all directly? Not a single one was left alive. Cheng Yan looked at the scene in front of him with some confusion. To be honest, this was the first time he had seen such a thing, which made him a little overwhelmed. Fortunately, Cheng Yan remembered that he was a tiger, these things had nothing to do with him, he just needed to do what he wanted to do. After taking a last look at the battlefield, Cheng Yan turned around and ran, and he had to run farther next. He didn't forget that he was a wild albino Siberian tiger. Now he didn't wait for the researchers to come. Maybe they would catch him and study him for a while. Even if they would release him in the end, Cheng Yan didn't want to be caught and studied. Apart from other things, he was now much stronger than his peers in terms of physical fitness. After being discovered, it was probably impossible for him to run away. The excrement and hair he left in the forest on weekdays were enough for researchers to study, but forget about drawing his blood. In Ping'an village, Wang Zhenxin and others had just come out of the forest. They had stayed in the forest for a day before, but Wang Zhenxin was a little older after all. He couldn't stand staying in the forest for so long in this weather, so he withdrew. As soon as he returned to the room, Wang Zhenxin received a call. After hearing the news from the other end of the phone, Wang Zhenxin was very happy. His mission was completed, and he also found the current traces of the white tiger. He took the 4 young men in sportswear to Lin Su's room next door. Lin Su opened the door and looked at Wang Zhenxin with a puzzled look. Professor, what's wrong? Take him away. Wang Zhenxin didn't waste any words and took a step back to make way for the 4 forest police. One of his tasks this time, or the main task, was to bring Lin Su out and let him lure out all the poachers and catch them all in one fell swoop. This was a task Wang Zhenxin had received before. It happened that because of the white tiger incident, the higher-ups made a decision to use the white tiger as bait to attract the poachers. In order to ensure that the poacher teams could be dealt with, the higher-ups even ordered the armed police to go out. Professor! What are you doing? Lin Su, a scientific researcher, was certainly no match for the 4 forest police. He was controlled in a few moves, and Lin Su had to shout loudly to Wang Zhenxin. You have revealed various protected animals to poachers. The news has already broken out. You can't run away. This time, I am here to get rid of you all at once. Wang Zhenxin snorted coldly, letting Lin Su know clearly, and directly told him the mission of this time. Lin Su was stunned after hearing this, and then his face was ashen. He didn't expect that he would be exposed. He has revealed information to the poacher team over the years and earned a lot of money. Originally, a doctoral student, while still studying, has also received a salary, but compared with the money he gets from the poachers, the gap is too big. He can get several years of salary at a time. So more and more information was revealed, and now it has accumulated too much. Once this matter breaks out, he probably can't run away. After Cheng Yan ran for a distance, he felt that it was almost enough, so he stopped. After strolling in the mountains for a while, I don't know where I ran to. Anyway, I was wandering around. As a result, Cheng Yan found a strange place, an open space of about several meters. There is nothing surprising about open space in the forest, but the open space here is barren. Except for a withered tree, there is not even a single weed. This is very strange. Even if some hills do not grow trees, there will still be some grass. The trees here are withered and there will not be no weeds growing. Cheng Yan carefully sensed this area and did not sense any danger. Unlike the previous snowfield, there was an inexplicable sense of danger. There was nothing strange about this place in Cheng Yan's perception. But this is what made Cheng Yan feel strange. This kind of barren land is basically impossible to exist in the Daxing Mountains, and there is no danger. Cheng Yan carefully stepped on it with his forefoot. There was nothing wrong. It was just the feeling of stepping on the land. The whole body stepped on this piece of land, and stood there waiting for a few seconds, but nothing happened. Although Cheng Yan knew this piece of land something was wrong, but Cheng Yan couldn't help but come up to take a closer look out of curiosity. Cheng Yan was usually very bored, but he was busy recently because of the poachers. Now the poachers have been dealt with. Cheng Yan naturally wanted to find something fun to kill time, and the strange place in this open space could help Cheng Yan kill time. After searching carefully in the open space, Cheng Yan unknowingly came to the withered tree in the middle of the open space. When Cheng Yan came here, he seemed to have discovered something. A faint fragrance was smelled by Cheng Yan. Is there a matsutake growing here? Cheng Yan began to dig the soil along the roots of the tree with some doubts. After digging carefully for a while, as the soil got deeper and deeper, the fragrance became stronger and stronger, even making Cheng Yan, who had eaten a lot of mountain delicacies with this fragrance, feel a little drooling. It's just that the thing growing here is a bit deep. Cheng Yan even dug about half a meter away, but he didn't find it. That is, Cheng Yan is a tiger, with sharp claws and strong tiger paws, which is more suitable for digging the ground, otherwise he might not be able to dig such a deep pit. When Cheng Yan dug the pit to more than 1 meter deep, Cheng Yan saw the thing that exuded a fresh fragrance. Truffle. A black gold truffle. Generally speaking, there are several varieties of truffles, such as black truffles and white truffles. This truffle here is a black truffle, but the color is a little golden. And when Cheng Yan dug it out, the extremely rich fragrance instantly emanated. Cheng Yan looked at the truffle and his saliva flowed down. He quickly took it out carefully, and then took out water from the system space to wash it. After washing it clean, he ate it directly. Cheng Yan chewed the truffle for a while, and a slight bitterness filled his mouth, but the fragrance that followed eliminated the bitterness. This was the first time Cheng Yan ate truffles. Whether it was when he was still a human or now when he was a tiger, it was the first time he ate truffles. Cheng Yan felt that the taste was acceptable. Chapter 65. There are truffles in the Daxing Mountains, and the yield is not bad. After eating it, Cheng Yan felt full of strength, and the fatigue from running all day was gone. This is better than the ginseng Cheng Yan ate before. At that time, Cheng Yan didn't feel anything after eating a ginseng, but this time it was able to eliminate his fatigue. This black and gold truffle is obviously different from other ordinary truffles. It must be a good thing. There are no other weeds growing in this area. Maybe it's because this truffle absorbs all the nutrients in the surrounding land. It makes it impossible for other weeds to grow, which leads to the barrenness of this area. Cheng Yan looked here again, but didn't find anything else, so he was ready to leave here and find a place to rest. But before leaving, he looked at the 1 meter deep pit he had just dug to find truffles, and hesitated for a while. Anyway, it's not dark yet, and it's still early to go to bed, so he can make a trap now. This trap is ready anyway. The pit has been dug, and you just need to put some leaves and branches on it to cover it. Cheng Yan aimed at the withered tree next to him. The tree had withered to this extent. The branches must be very fragile and might break at a touch. Cheng Yan directly used his claws and gently snapped the branch. He got a few small branches and placed them on the pit. Cheng Yan went to the nearby forest to find some leaves. He piled all the leaves on the branches and a simple trap was completed. Cheng Yan was very satisfied with the trap. He used to do this when he was a child, but he never tricked anyone. After all, this trap was too simple for people and could be seen at a glance. He would also add some soil to the leaves to deepen it, but it was not so troublesome in the mountains and forests, and the branches were too fragile. Cheng Yan was afraid that after getting the soil, the branches would not be able to bear it and would break. Then he would have to do it again. After finishing all these, the sky began to darken. The sun was about to sink into the mountains, and only a trace of afterglow was still in the sky. Cheng Yan found a place a little further away from here to rest. If it was too close, Cheng Yan was afraid that animals would not dare to approach after smelling his scent. Although he made a trap, Cheng Yan did not expect to catch anything. The branches and leaves he used to make the trap were all made by him, and they had his scent on them. Even after a period of time, there would be a little residue on it, and those weak herbivores would not have the courage to approach. Those animals that were brave enough to approach could not be trapped by such a small trap. As the sky darkened, Cheng Yan fell asleep. The next day, Cheng Yan woke up before dawn. After stretching, Cheng Yan ate today's breakfast. After eating and drinking, Cheng Yan walked in the direction of the trap he made yesterday. He didn't have much hope, but when Cheng Yan approached, he found that the trap seemed to be triggered, and the leaves and branches above the pit were gone. Cheng Yan rushed over and looked into the pit with expectation. There was only a pit more than 1 meter deep. There were no other animals in it except fallen branches and leaves. Or there were some animals, but they escaped. Seeing the trap fail, Cheng Yan shook his head. He could accept this result. It was estimated that some larger predator fell in and then jumped out. Whether it was a forest wolf or a lynx, such a small pit would definitely not trap them. Seeing that the trap had lost its effect, Cheng Yan gave up the idea of continuing to set the trap. He had just made it on a whim. If it failed, it would be fine. He couldn't stay here today. He chose a direction to walk for a while, and only started to go to the check-in location until the check-in task was refreshed. This time can be regarded as the last time to check in this mountain forest. Cheng Yan decided to set off for the nearby Bell Prairie after completing the check-in task. He has been in this forest for several months and is a little bored. Now that spring has come, the prairie should be quite lively. Cheng Yan also wants to go and take a look, and hide from the researchers. Coming to this check-in location, a forest, Cheng Yan started to check in. This time the check-in time was only 10 minutes, and in the end Cheng Yan got 500,000 cash. Cheng Yan looked at the cash in the system space and fell into deep thought. He remembered that the system seemed to have given cash before, but he was a big tiger, what was the use of cash? Did he have to run to the town to buy things with money? He dared to run over to buy, but would anyone dare to sell things in front of him? It seems that the cash he got last time was thrown to a few mountain runners. What will he use this cash for this time? Is he going to the Bell Prairie to buy cattle and sheep to eat? Looking at this cash, Cheng Yan thought of another question. Speaking of the rewards given by this system for punching in, he can understand other things, but this cash, is it extra out of thin air, or is it black money that can be used? If it is black money. Cheng Yan remembered the poor mountain runner he threw to him for a ganodermalus item, hoping that he would not go to jail for black money. Prayed for the mountain runner for 2 seconds. Cheng Yan started walking towards the Bell Prairie. It only took him 2 hours to complete the punching time this time. It was still morning and he had enough time to stroll over. After walking for about 3 hours, Cheng Yan came to the junction of Daxing Mountains and Bell Prairie. The scenery at this junction is very attractive. One side is full of dense trees, and the other side is lower, but the endless green grassland is visible. Cheng Yan looked at the green grassland in front of him and felt a little refreshed. Although running in the mountains and forests is also very good on weekdays, running on this kind of grassland is probably more refreshing. Looking back at the mountains and forests behind him, Cheng Yan stepped into the Bell Prairie without looking back. The moment he stepped into the prairie, Cheng Yan started running. It was spring, and the grass on the Bell Prairie had grown to 5 or 6 centimeters. Cheng Yan ran on the grassland for a while before slowly stopping. I started thinking about the various animals on the Bell Prairie. Cows, sheep, and horses are livestock, raised by many herdsmen. The roasted lamb legs and lamb chops of the herdsmen on these prairie are very delicious. I wonder if I can find a chance to try them. Cheng Yan was drooling a little thinking about the delicious roasted lamb legs. After he turned into a tiger, he started eating raw meat. Although it didn't taste bad because of the tiger's body, there was still a difference in taste compared to the food he had eaten as a human before. Cheng Yan had been thinking about that bite for a long time. Chapter 66. Cheng Yan strolled for a long time in this vast grassland, but found nothing except grass. There was no sign of any animal, let alone cattle, horses, and sheep. Even marmots and prairie wolves had never been seen. He strolled until dark, and except for a few marmots, Cheng Yan did not find any other animals. This disappointed Cheng Yan, who was full of expectations. It would be better if he strolled around in the Daxing Mountains, at least there were many animals there, and he could fish for animals and find those different and precious ginseng truffles to eat. In addition to grass and some flowers, there were only a few marmots that ran very fast. Those marmots were very alert. When they smelled the smell of danger from a distance, they ran directly into the cave. This made Cheng Yan unable to get one to make it scream. Helpless, Cheng Yan could only find a place to sleep. He planned to run a little further on the prairie tomorrow. Maybe he had just entered the prairie today, so he didn't meet any animals. Cheng Yan was woken up early the next morning. It was still dark and night, and the stars and the moon in the sky could be clearly seen. Cheng Yan opened his eyes and looked at the thing that disturbed his sleep. What is this? A rabbit or a mouse? Cheng Yan looked at the little guy not far away and was a little confused. It was the first time he saw this kind of small animal. It was a small one, more than 10 centimeters long, with a face shape a bit like a mouse, but without a tail, and a body a bit like a rabbit, but with small round ears. More than a dozen pikas were looking for food on the grass. At first, they didn't notice Cheng Yan who was sleeping all the time. When Cheng Yan stretched his head to look at them, they found that there was a big tiger here. The little guys immediately ran to their respective caves, but disappeared in a few seconds. Cheng Yan got up and walked towards the location of the pika. He stretched out his big head and looked into the small hole. He found that the hole was a bit deep and the pika that ran in had disappeared. Seeing that there were no little guys around, Cheng Yan stretched his body. Since he was woken up, he was not going to sleep. It was still early, so he should take a walk. Just after getting up, he started running wildly on the prairie. It was indeed different from running wildly in the mountains and forests. This made Cheng Yan a little curious. After running for an unknown period of time, Cheng Yan felt that it was almost time to stop. He lay down on the grass and began to rest, preparing to rest for a while and eat. After eating and drinking, Cheng Yan looked into the distance. There was a little glow on the horizon. This was the moment when the sun was about to rise. Watch the sunrise. Cheng Yan had not seen this scene much after he became a tiger. Before, he was in the Daxing Mountains, where there were many trees. Most of the time, Cheng Yan slept in the woods or caves. He could only see the sun after it rose completely. This time, it was to watch the sunrise on the Bell Prairie. In this season, the sunrise time of the Bell Prairie is generally around 6 o'clock. Cheng Yan, who is used to getting up early, did not miss the beauty of the sunrise. The morning sun rose slowly on the horizon, and the surrounding clouds gradually became more colorful as the morning sun rose, which was very attractive. After watching the sunrise, Cheng Yan found that the check-in task had been refreshed, and it was time to do the daily check-in task. I looked at the check-in distance, which was not far, only 5 kilometers. This is a prairie, not a mountain forest, and there is no snow. Cheng Yan can exert the maximum speed and run quickly to the check-in place. It has already run to it in 10 minutes, and he has not used all his strength. When he came to the check-in location, Cheng Yan found that the ecology here seemed to be much better than the area where he was yesterday. Even though the distance was far, Cheng Yan could already find the sheep eating grass on the prairie in the distance. In addition, there were a few dogs. Cheng Yan estimated that these were the legendary sheepdogs. He used to watch videos frequently. The sheepdogs in the videos were very powerful. They could help herd sheep and fight wolves. However, most of the sheepdogs in the videos were border collies, but these sheepdogs did not look like border collies at all. These sheepdogs were basically all black, with a little yellow hair on their chests, 2 yellow spots on their eyes, and yellow hair under their mouths. The hair was obviously longer than that of border collies. Is this Ao Chuan? Cheng Yan looked at the appearance of the sheepdogs and made a guess. Bell Prairie belongs to Inner Mongolia, and the sheepdogs here should all be local. Although border collies are also very suitable sheepdogs, it is obvious that local people prefer local sheepdogs. This should be the Mongolian Mastiff from Inner Mongolia. The Mongolian Mastiff is also a very suitable sheepdog. It is a professional dog, and it is more ferocious than the border collie, and has stronger fighting power than the border collie. It is also very smart, domineering and aggressive. In addition to the profession of shepherd dog, it can even serve as a guard dog, and can also be used as a hunting dog, which is very powerful. The Mongolian Mastiff can even attack the prairie wolf head-on. I won't talk about winning or losing for the time being, but it is very brave. At this time, they have not discovered Cheng Yan's existence. They are around the sheep flock, and 2 of them are on high alert. If I go over, will those Mongolian Mastiffs dare to attack me? Cheng Yan wants to try it. Anyway, the daily things are just punching in, which is very boring. It's also fun to provoke those shepherd dogs. However, even if he wants to try those Mongolian Mastiffs, Cheng Yan has to complete today's punching task first. After checking the various situations around, Cheng Yan started to punch in. After half an hour of punching in, Cheng Yan was quite satisfied. Most of them were attribute point rewards. The more attribute points, the better. Although he is very powerful now, there are too many magical things in nature, and it is hard to guarantee that there will not be some particularly powerful animals again. As long as his attribute points increase, he will always surpass them, and then the whole natural world will be at Cheng Yan's disposal. In summer, I will catch the giant python as a cool mat and the big turtle as a mount, and that will be a wonderful life. Awoo! Just as Cheng Yan was immersed in his fantasy, a wolf howl interrupted his fantasy. Cheng Yan first glanced at his punch-in time. There were more than 10 minutes left, and Cheng Yan could not leave the punch-in area during this period. Cheng Yan looked into the distance. I saw several prairie wolves appearing in the distance, and they were heading towards the sheep under the leadership of the head wolf. The sheep had been startled by the wolf howl and were in chaos at this time. The sheepdogs had also discovered the wolf pack and had begun to divide their work and start to act. Cheng Yan suddenly became energetic. He could see such a wonderful battle on the second day after arriving at the prairie. Mongolian Mastiff vs Prairie Wolf. He doesn't want to miss such a wonderful scene. Chapter 67. The chaotic scene of thousands of sheep is very shocking, all white and crowded together. There are 9 Mongolian Mastiff shepherd dogs in total, 3 of which have gone to the middle of the sheep to restore order, and the other 6 are running towards the wolf pack over there. The wolves here are Inner Mongolia steppe wolves, which are not actually dominant in size over Mongolian Mastiffs. Their body length is only about 1.6 to 1.8 meters, and their weight is only 30 kilograms. The size of Mongolian Mastiffs is also 1.4 to 1.6 meters, and the heavier ones can reach 50 kilograms. Don't underestimate the difference of 20 kilograms. In the animal world, whoever is bigger will have the advantage. The weight ratio of Mongolian Mastiffs is almost twice that of Inner Mongolia steppe wolves. With such a size advantage, the wolf pack is not actually dominant. Under normal circumstances, unless there is really no food, the wolf pack will not come to poach the sheep guarded by sheepdogs and herdsmen. You should know that the sheepdogs on the Bell Prairie are basically very powerful dogs. In addition, some herders can even apply for hunting rifles to protect the sheep as long as they meet certain conditions, which can make the wolf pack more dangerous. From the current situation, the herders of this sheep flock do not have hunting rifles, so they can only let the sheepdogs protect the sheep. 6 sheepdogs charged towards the wolf pack together. The wolf pack obviously did not want to fight the sheepdogs head-on, and they dispersed instantly and rushed towards the sheep in each direction. Now this season is spring, and there are many cubs in the sheep flock, and these cubs are the target of the wolf pack. Although the meat of the cubs is relatively small, compared with the size of adult sheep, it is easier for the wolf pack to hunt the lambs from the protection of the sheepdogs. They can directly retreat with the lambs in their mouths. After the wolves dispersed their formation, 3 of them rushed past the sheepdogs' charge point, and finally only 4 wolves faced 6 Mongolian Mastiffs. If it is a one-on-one fight, although the Mongolian Mastiff has a certain advantage in size, it cannot win for sure. More often, the wolf has a greater chance of winning. If the same number of wolves and Mongolian Mastiffs are against each other, the wolf pack can even have an advantage, because the wolf pack is very smart, and the wolf pack has been acting together for a long time, and the wolf pack has a higher chance of winning when it moves in the group. However, this time, the Mongolian Mastiff has an advantage in numbers, so the wolf pack has made a decision. The 4 wolves left behind are to hold back the Mongolian mastiffs and let their companions catch the lambs. The 6 Mongolian mastiffs and the 4 wolves fought together in an instant, and the sound of fighting shook the grassland, frightening some small animals around the grassland. After a while, the 4 wolves were obviously a little bit inferior to the 6 Mongolian mastiffs, but they were still buying time for their companions, so they could only fight desperately. With a wolf howl, the 4 wolves began to retreat instantly. Their companions succeeded. The 3 sheepdogs in the flock failed to stop the 3 wolves from attacking the lamb cubs, allowing them to successfully hunt down 3 lambs. Cheng Yan watched everything happening here from a distance, a little amazed. The wolves were really strong in mobility and coordination. They were able to succeed even though they did not have an advantage in numbers. Although there were only 3 lambs, they could still give the wolves a meal. A newly born lamb may weigh only a few kilograms, but in the next period of time, the weight of the lamb will increase rapidly, and it will reach more than 10 kilograms in half a month. The meat of 3 lambs is also okay. The wolf's stomach can hold several kilograms of food. If it eats freely, 1 lamb may be enough for 1 wolf, but the wolf can eat a meal for a long time without eating. They can last for a long time just by hunting once on weekdays. Many carnivores are like this. They can last for a long time after eating a meal, but in most cases, if the amount of exercise is large enough every day, they need to eat more. Most carnivores will lazily start to sleep after eating, especially cats. Although Cheng Yan, the tiger, has a lot of daily activities, he does not need to eat meat every day to replenish energy. However, Cheng Yan is used to eating every day. Anyway, he can eat food even if he is not very hungry. For him, it is just a matter of eating more or less. Anyway, he does not have to worry about food, he can eat whenever he wants. This wonderful battle between the shepherd dog Mongolian Mastiff and the Inner Mongolia Prairie Wolf ended here. The Prairie Wolf retreated, and the shepherd dogs would not chase them, and they all retreated. After a battle, these shepherd dogs will inevitably have some injuries, but the 4 Prairie Wolves are not doing well either, and they also have some injuries. If other animals are injured, they may lose their lives because of these injuries, especially solitary animals. Because after being injured, their hunting ability will be affected. If they cannot catch prey, they will not be able to recover properly. As time goes by, they can only die from injuries. But the wolf pack is different. After they are injured, other wolves will take on the identity of hunters and hunt for the injured wolf until the injury is healed. The sheepdogs are even less worried. Although they lost 3 lambs, facing the attack of the wolf pack, only losing 3 lambs is already a very good situation. The herdsmen can still accept it. They will feed and drink the sheepdogs well and heal their wounds. So in the end, only the sheep and the 3 lambs are injured. But this is the natural world, facing various life and death crises every day. Cheng Yan is not affected by these only because of the system. Otherwise, with Cheng Yan's hunting skills that he has not mastered for several months after becoming a tiger, he would have starved to death long ago. He may not even survive the winter and die somewhere. Cheng Yan finished reading all this, and his punch-in task was already completed, earning 2 attribute points. Looking at the sheep herd that was calming down in front of him, Cheng Yan thought about it and decided not to go over. It was probably impossible to eat roasted lamb legs now, so he decided to wait. Anyway, his nose was very sensitive. If he saw a herdsman roasting lamb legs, he could smell the smell from a long distance and go over then. It was impossible for him, a big tiger, to go over and the herdsman would hide the roasted lamb legs from him. Maybe after seeing him from a distance, he would walk away and give him the roasted lamb legs. It was still early, still in the morning, and if Cheng Yan wanted to eat roasted lamb legs, he would probably have to wait until lunch or dinner. In addition, he had eaten in the morning, so he decided to go somewhere else first and come back to take a look when it was time for dinner. If there were roasted lamb legs or something, he would go over, but if not, forget it. Chapter 68. Leaving the place where the herdsmen were grazing their sheep, Cheng Yan chose a direction and ran over there. The noise of Cheng Yan's running attracted the attention of the alert sheepdog, although the sheepdog could not see clearly what animal was running because of the distance. But it could obviously sense that an extremely dangerous animal was over there, and the sheepdog quickly made a sound to remind other sheepdogs and herdsmen to pay attention. The herdsman also looked over there after the sheepdog's reminder, but he only saw a silhouette, but this silhouette shocked him. From the side, a large cat was running. Although the direction of the running was not where he was, it was also terrifying. In the animal kingdom, the largest canine is the wolf, but among the cats, there are many larger than wolves. Tigers, lions, jaguars, snow leopards, leopards, and other cats are much larger than wolves. And cats are often more dangerous than canines. If sheepdogs can fight wolves and minimize the loss of sheep, then if cats come into play, even sheepdogs will be in danger. Because cats will even attack sheepdogs, and a sheepdog, even if it is a Mongolian Mastiff, will not be a match for those large cats. The appearance of a large cat here is enough to scare the herders. If he is targeted by this big cat, he may not be safe unless he is in the middle of several sheepdogs. The herders immediately made up their minds to drive the sheep to other places. Who knows if this big cat has set its sights on this place? Cheng Yan had no idea that after his whereabouts were seen by the herders, they would actually ask the herders to drive the sheep away and not graze here. At this time, Cheng Yan was surprised. He had come to the edge of the prairie. There was a road next to it, but there were no people or vehicles on the road at this time. But there was no one, but there was a big guy. A deer with a pair of big horns was walking beside the road. Moose. The moose is very large, with a body length of up to 2.6 meters and a shoulder height of up to 2.4 meters. With its head and horns, it looks very large. It may not seem too big, but if you put an SUV next to this moose, you can see how big this moose is. SUVs are not as big as moose. At this time, this big guy has also discovered Cheng Yan. Cheng Yan's size is not small. During this period, his size will become a little bigger every day after waking up. At this time, his size has even exceeded that of other Siberian tigers. Some people believe that Cheng Yan is the king of Siberian tigers. But for the moose, the size of the Siberian tiger is just like that. If Cheng Yan was not a tiger, the moose would not even take him seriously. After seeing Cheng Yan, the moose did not continue to walk leisurely. He looked at him vigilantly and stood there without moving. The big horns on his head were ready to attack at any time. Although moose are herbivores, if they go crazy, even brown bears will be beaten by them. After all, their size advantage is there. Cheng Yan did not want to attack this moose, he was just a little curious about it because he saw such a big moose for the first time. The reindeer kings I saw before were probably about this size, but this moose was obviously just an ordinary moose, not the king of the moose race. This made Cheng Yan sigh that the gap in racial advantages was really big. Even if some animals grew wildly and became the king of their own race, the size gap was basically leveled compared to those races that obviously had an advantage. The same was true for the snow leopard king I had seen before, the king of snow leopards in the Daxing Mountains, but his size was about the same as that of other ordinary Siberian tigers. If he really fought with other Siberian tigers, he might not be able to beat the Siberian tiger. Cheng Yan wanted to follow this moose to its territory, but seeing how vigilant it was, Cheng Yan finally decided to forget it. Moose can live in groups or alone, and this moose should be the one that lives alone. Even if you follow it, you may not be able to find the moose king, so why bother it? In addition, Cheng Yan is not suitable for staying in human territory for a long time. After all, he knows how rare he is. It's okay to show up occasionally, because he often runs around and runs a long distance every day. It can be difficult for people to find him, but if he stays in one place for a long time, he will be very dangerous, not to mention those poachers with guns. Even if he is from the research team, he may have some ideas about him, even if he won't let him live. Dangerous, but the possibility of catching him and studying him for a while is still very high. This is a highway, and no one is passing by now, probably because the population here is relatively sparse. Cheng Yan took a last look at the huge moose, turned around and ran into the grassland. After running a distance in one direction, Cheng Yan stopped and strolled slowly on the prairie to see if there was anything interesting around him. But the living environment on the Bell Prairie was obviously not as comfortable for Cheng Yan as in the Daxing Mountains. It was only spring, and the grass on the prairie was not too deep, which could not cover Cheng Yan's body. His white fur was particularly conspicuous here, and many animals saw him from a distance. After seeing him, the animals all ran back to their respective places of residence, which made it impossible for Cheng Yan to find something interesting. After strolling for a long time, Cheng Yan looked at the sky and felt that it was almost time. The herders should be having dinner. When he gets there, maybe they have already prepared dinner, so he can have a meal. Cheng Yan started to run to the marked location he had left before. He left a mark at the location where he had checked in before, so that he could find the place better. Although there was a system map, he still wanted to exercise himself more. Of course, as a lazy man, he would only exercise when he remembered occasionally. Anyway, time didn't matter to him now, and he had plenty of time to practice slowly. When Cheng Yan came to the marked location, he was a little confused. Such a large group of sheep disappeared. Cheng Yan sniffed the mark he left on the ground. The smell was right. It was his smell. Why did the sheep disappear? Cheng Yan, who was a little uncertain, even opened the map and checked it. He found that his location was indeed the place where he checked in the morning. No mistake. Did the sheep eat grass and eat somewhere else? Cheng Yan went forward to the location where the sheep were before. As soon as he approached, the smell of sheep filled Cheng Yan's nose. Did they run away? Cheng Yan searched carefully here and confirmed that the flock of sheep had moved away from here. He was a little confused. The sheep were actually driven away. What happened? Chapter 69. Wondering what happened, Cheng Yan followed the smell of the sheep all the way. After walking for a long time, it was dark before Cheng Yan saw the sheep, but the sheep were no longer outside, but were penned in with a fence outside. In addition to the fence, there were several yurts. This should be where the herdsman lived. Cheng Yan sniffed and found that in addition to the fishy smell of the sheep, there was also the smell of mutton soup, but the smell of the mutton soup was already very light. After taking a look at the fence, Cheng Yan jumped in lightly. The sheep in the fence also found Cheng Yan at this time, and they became restless and bleated. Several Mongolian Mastiff shepherd dogs came out of the sheep and barked at Cheng Yan, but at this time they only dared to bark and had no intention of coming forward. Cheng Yan let out a breath, ignored the sheepdogs, and prepared to go to the yurt to see if there was any mutton soup and roasted lamb legs. After searching the nearest yurt, Cheng Yan found nothing. Although there were some snacks, there was no roasted lamb legs or lamb chops that Cheng Yan wanted. He turned around and left for the second yurt next to him. As soon as he poked his head through the gap in the curtain, Cheng Yan's figure froze immediately. Cheng Yan looked at the herdsman holding a shotgun and was stunned for a moment. He didn't react to how the herdsman had a shotgun, but he now knew that he was in danger. If he moved a little, he might be shot. "Excuse me. Excuse me." Cheng Yan quickly retracted his head and turned to run. It was too dangerous here. It would be better to stay away from the herdsman in the future. I didn't see the herdsman holding guns during the day, otherwise the wolves would not have successfully hunted 3 lambs. As a result, when I followed the herdsman to his residence at night, I actually met him with a shotgun. What bad luck! The herder in the yurt breathed a sigh of relief as he watched the big tiger retreat. When he saw a large cat this morning, he knew that there was some danger recently. After driving the sheep back to the pen, he borrowed a hunting rifle from his good brother. Although it was against the rules, it was fine as long as he was not discovered. In addition, his life was in danger now, so he could not care so much. As a result, the big cat really came at night. As soon as he took down the hanging gun, the big cat's head got into the curtain. What surprised him was that the cat turned out to be a big tiger, and a white tiger. He watched the tiger run away through the gap in the yurt curtain, and he felt relieved. The tiger should not come over. However, the tiger turned around and ran after seeing him. Could it be that he had some kind of domineering spirit? Did he scare the tiger away? Cheng Yan ran for a distance before slowing down. It should be safe here. Walking on the prairie, Cheng Yan was a little depressed. He wanted to eat some roasted lamb, but he was almost shot. He showed up here again, so he had to stay away from here. But these are all tomorrow's things. There should be nothing to do today. Cheng Yan found a place to rest and sleep. He slept very well. He woke up when the sun came out. Stretching himself, Cheng Yan looked at the system punch-in task. It had not been refreshed yet. Now the sun had just come out, and it was not time to refresh it yet. Eat something, drink some water, clean up the face, and when all this was done, the punch-in task was refreshed. The distance was a bit far, a full 20 kilometers, and it was still in the direction of the deep prairie. This punch-in task made Cheng Yan very satisfied. He showed up here and had to run a little further. The location of this task was just in line with his idea of going deep into the prairie. Running on the prairie, Cheng Yan arrived at the check-in location not long after. As soon as he arrived here, Cheng Yan discovered the animals here, grass rabbits. Grass rabbits are different from snow rabbits. Although they are both rabbits, they are a little different in size. The fur of grass rabbits is generally sandy yellow in winter, about 40 centimeters long, with long ears and short tails. They weigh about 3 or 4 pounds, and the fatter ones are only 5 or 6 pounds. The body size of snow rabbits is much larger than that of grass rabbits. Some snow rabbits can even grow to half a meter in length and weigh more than 10 pounds. And snow rabbits are protected animals, while grass rabbits are not protected animals. On this Bell Prairie, grass rabbits are even hated by herders. Because grass rabbits will destroy vegetation, the growth environment of pasture will also be destroyed because of grass rabbits. The grassland wolves that grow here often prey mainly on these grass rabbits. When Cheng Yan came here, he saw more than 10 rabbits eating grass, but after Cheng Yan came over, these rabbits immediately disappeared into the grass. There are holes made by them everywhere. One hare can make several holes, or even more than 10 holes. There are more than 10 hares here, which proves that there are holes everywhere in this area. It is not too exaggerated to have hundreds of holes. Digging holes is one of the survival abilities of these hares. They will go into the holes when they encounter danger. All the rabbits ran into the holes at the place where Cheng Yan checked in, but not long after, they came out from a place a little far away from Cheng Yan. There is a hole leading to the other side. After taking a look at these hares with interest, Cheng Yan decided to play the rabbit catching game he had played before after checking in. The check-in time this time was 10 minutes, and Cheng Yan finished it quickly, and was rewarded with some meat. Originally, Cheng Yan was going to start catching rabbits directly, but when he saw that his faith points were full again, he decided to use them first. Anyway, there were so many rabbits here, and he could catch them whenever he wanted, so he started a new round of checking in. The check-in time this time was 20 minutes. The clock-in time was counting down. Cheng Yan looked at the grass rabbits eating grass in the distance, wondering if he would eat one if he caught one. However, thinking about their meat with fur, Cheng Yan felt a little disgusted. At this time, he was thinking that it would be nice if someone followed him, preferably someone with great cooking skills, so that he could eat some roasted rabbits, roasted whole lambs, etc. Anyway, he had all kinds of meat, and they were all very fresh. While he was fantasizing about various things, a sound of an eagle interrupted Cheng Yan's fantasy. Cheng Yan looked up and saw a black dot hovering in the sky. The sound of the eagle was made by it. Is this an eagle? The black dot in the sky was flying too high, and Cheng Yan could not see it clearly. After the black dot circled for a few times, it seemed to have found its target and began to rush to the ground at a very fast speed. What kind of eagle is this? It's a bit fierce. Cheng Yan watched the eagle rush to the ground in a short time, catch a grass rabbit and take off. It was at this time that Cheng Yan saw how big this guy was. After unfolding his wingspan, it was more than 2 meters. Chapter 70. Is this a golden eagle? Cheng Yan recognized the eagle as it flew up. The golden eagle is a national first-class protected animal. It is one of the large raptors of the family Accipitridae and lives in various mountain forests and grasslands. Although its body is only about 1 meter long, its wingspan can reach more than 2 meters after it spreads its wings. It is a very ferocious animal among raptors. On weekdays, the golden eagle has a lot of food, including rabbits and mice. If the food becomes scarce, it may even attack ferocious predators such as prairie wolves. It can be said that on the prairie, the golden eagle is the overlord of the sky. On weekdays, it can be said to dominate one side. Apart from humans, there are basically no other natural enemies. Or it can be said that humans are basically the natural enemies of all animals. As long as no one disturbs them, destroys their habitats, or catches them, they can live well. When the golden eagle was not included in the list of protected animals, its number basically plummeted. Because the feathers of the golden eagle are very beautiful, and its meat is also very delicious. For people who like to eat all kinds of animals, this golden eagle is a delicacy. It was later included in the list of first-class protected animals, which made the number of golden eagles begin to stabilize. Now there are about 100,000 golden eagles in the world. Cheng Yan looked at the appearance of the golden eagle and was a little curious. How did this golden eagle hunt the prairie wolf weighing dozens of kilograms with its own weight of about 10 kilograms? If the golden eagle had not flown too fast in the sky, Cheng Yan would have followed it for a while to see how it hunted those prairie wolves. At this time, the rabbits over there hid back in the cave because of the hunting of the golden eagle, and now they are hiding and dare not come out. Cheng Yan has just finished punching in. Even if he wants to catch rabbits, looking at the current situation, these rabbits may not come out in a short time. Cheng Yan can only give up the activity of catching rabbits and prepare to continue to walk deep into the prairie. This is not how deep he has seen the rare golden eagle. If we go deeper, we might encounter some rare animals. When Cheng Yan was strolling on the Yubire Prairie, the forest police and Wang Zhensin had already found the bodies of the first team of poachers on the other side of the Daxing Mountains. Wang Zhensin couldn't help but turn pale when he saw the miserable appearance of these bodies. At this time, their bodies had become bumpy, which meant that animals had eaten them. However, there were still many places that had not been eaten, but those places were all black, and it was obvious that they were poisoned. These poachers have all fallen here. Be careful around you. Those poisonous animals may still be around. The captain of a team used the radio to inform the people around them to be careful with a serious face. The poison must be extraordinary to kill all 7 poachers with guns here. There are only 7 people here, and 1 is not here. Other teams should search the surrounding area carefully to see if there are any traces. Received. Then, for safety reasons, the captain of a team led people to tie up these people with ropes, and confiscated all the guns that fell on the ground, preparing to drag them back. They can't stay here for long. Not long after, a team found another poacher. A body that had turned into wreckage. Only the gun not far from the wreckage proved his identity as a poacher. Take the wreckage and the gun, we will go back now, and be careful on the road. With this wreckage, their mission this time has been completed. The poachers who entered the mountains were wiped out, and the leader of the poachers who organized them has been arrested. Now they just need to take them back. At this last moment, the captain doesn't want anything to happen. On the way back, Wang Zhensin asked the captain of the first team, "Have you found any traces of the white tiger?" "No, it ran deep into the forest that day and has not appeared since then. However, this white tiger does not seem to be the one in the video. This one is much bigger than the one in the video." Wang Zhensin sighed, maybe the one in the video is a sub-adult, and this white tiger is an adult. Maybe the 2 white tigers are related by blood. It may be fate that we can't find them now. Seeing Wang Zhensin sighing, the captain of the first team comforted him, "Professor Wang, don't worry. Now the largest poaching gang in the country has been eliminated. The 2 white tigers live safely in this mountain range. There will always be a chance to see them in the future." Wang Zhensin just nodded and didn't say anything else. When the forest police returned with the 8 bodies, their mission was completely over. That night the evening news on the internet announced that the country had taken action to catch all the poachers. Cheng Yan didn't know what happened here, but even if he knew, he wouldn't be too relieved. After all, as long as there are still people who want him, the bounty worth 300 million has not been cancelled. If one poacher gang is caught, there will be another one. Cheng Yan ran wildly on the prairie. A breeze blew over, and all the grass on the prairie was blown in one direction by the breeze. The grass also turned into waves with the breeze. Cheng Yan looked at this scene and couldn't help but let out a roar to vent his inner feelings. This beautiful prairie really made Cheng Yan feel much better. He felt that his choice to leave the Daxing Mountains and come to the Bell Prairie was very correct. It's just that Cheng Yan is in a good mood, but it's hard for the small animals in that area. Cheng Yan did not hold back his roar. In such an open grassland, the roar of a tiger can be heard from a long distance, not to mention that Cheng Yan's roar was amplified. Some small animals close to Cheng Yan were even stunned by his roar. If Cheng Yan had not been interested in eating them, many small animals would have been stunned by the roar. When Cheng Yan calmed down, the sun began to set. It was sunset. The sunset shines on the grassland, giving it a different kind of beauty. Cheng Yan was immersed in this beauty for a while. Cheng Yan felt very fortunate to have become a tiger, although he could no longer play games, had no mobile phone or computer. But these beautiful scenery in various places were something he could not see when he was a human, even if he occasionally watched some videos and pictures on the computer or TV. But those things were not as beautiful as the real scenery. Only when people stand in this scenery can they truly feel its beauty. Chapter 71. When the sunset completely fell over the distant mountains, it was already dark. There are many more nocturnal animals and raptors on the prairie at night than during the day. For example, Cheng Yan saw a snow-white owl swooping down at a very fast speed and grabbing a rabbit. Snowy owl. Second level protection. Large owl. The feathers on the body are mainly snow-white, sometimes covered with dark horizontal stripes. Generally speaking, as male snowy owls age, some will become whiter and whiter, and finally become pure white. A snowy owl is 50 to 60 centimeters long and weighs only a few kilograms. If it lands on the snow, it looks extremely cute. Don't be fooled by its cute appearance, but it is a real raptor. Its claws are extremely powerful, and one claw will leave several blood holes. It can even fight with large eagles such as golden eagles. Snowy owls will divide their own territories. If there are predators such as golden eagles and peregrine falcons in their territories, they will fight with these predators and drive them out of their territories. Snowy owls can come out during the day and at night, but they don't really like the night. Instead, they are more active during the day, but they are more advantageous at night. Their eyes can find prey in the night, but it is extremely difficult for prey to find them. Unfortunately, it is spring now, and it is estimated that it will be difficult to see these snowy owls again this year. Because in spring, these snowy owls will start to migrate to the Arctic. Snowy owls usually live in the Arctic tundra and tundra. When there, they are active during the day and rest at night. In winter, they will come to places like the Bell Prairie. Because in the Arctic in winter, basically most of the 24 hours a day are at night. Cheng Yan looked at the snowy owls that caught rabbits and flew into the sky. He wanted to catch one and touch it. Unfortunately, it was difficult for him to catch such flying owls. Unless they were not on guard on the ground and he could sneak past them, he would have a certain chance to catch them. However, his body was a bit large, and it was difficult for him not to be discovered by these raptors. The prairie at night was also colorful, with various nocturnal animals appearing, but these animals generally would not provoke Cheng Yan. Although they had basically never seen Siberian tigers, Cheng Yan's size and the aura of a top predator emanating from his body were enough to make them retreat. The Bell Prairie and the Daxing Mountains can be said to be adjacent, but basically no Siberian tigers will appear on the Bell Prairie, except for Cheng Yan who ran around everywhere. Because the Bell Prairie is not suitable for the survival of Siberian tigers. On the grassland, there is a lack of effective cover, and the size of the Siberian tiger is too large, so it is basically difficult to sneak attack and hunt. After all, Siberian tigers basically live alone, without companions to hunt together. As long as they are discovered by prey, it is basically difficult to successfully hunt. But in addition to these, tigers actually need large water sources. Tigers' sweat glands are not well developed. They like to soak in water when the weather is hot, so tigers are basically good swimmers. If you meet a tiger, don't jump into the river or lake, because you will definitely not be able to swim faster than the tiger. Although there are Hulun Lake and Beer Lake on the Beer Prairie, the restrictions are too great, and the Siberian tiger basically will not survive there for a long time. When the sun came out again, Cheng Yan had been awake for a while, lying on the grass and shaking his tail out of boredom. The scenery on the prairie is indeed beautiful, but I have been watching it all this time and I am tired of it. After waking up, I didn't want to stroll around, so I just lay here and watched other small rodents come out to eat carefully for survival, and run back to the cave at the slightest sign of trouble. It wasn't until the punch-in task was refreshed that Cheng Yan was a little energetic. He stretched first, and then strolled towards the punch-in location. Now he didn't want to run anymore, he was very bored, and he didn't know what to do after checking in. Cheng Yan planned to walk around the prairie and then leave. Unconsciously, he walked to the place where he checked in, a dirt slope with a cave below. Cheng Yan smelled the scent of predators when he came here. But Cheng Yan didn't pay attention. Even if there were any predators, there would be no predators that could threaten him on the Bell Prairie. After all, the wolf pack on the Bell Prairie is the most ferocious predator, but even the wolf pack would not want to provoke a tiger. Even though the wolf pack here may have never seen a tiger and don't know what a tiger is. But from the appearance, it can be seen that the tiger has the advantage of size and fierce breath, and the wolf pack basically will not provoke the tiger because it is not cost-effective. If it was for hunting, the wolf pack could have hunted other animals that were easier to hunt, instead of looking for a large predator like a tiger. After all, the wolf pack might suffer heavy losses in a fight with a tiger, which was totally unnecessary. Wolves are very smart animals, and they generally only provoke those they can beat. Of course, if it was for other reasons, it would not necessarily be the case. For example, Cheng Yan was clocking in on the small earth slope at this time, but he did not notice that there were some mother wolves and a dozen wolf cubs in the cave below the small earth slope. At this time, the mother wolf had put the cubs in the innermost part of the cave, and they were staring at the outside of the cave a little ahead. Cheng Yan's top predator aura had already made them feel dangerous. There was a wolf pack living here, and it was a large wolf pack on the Bell Prairie. But now the male wolf and the wolf king had gone out hunting, and they were not here at this time. Only the mother wolf and the cubs were here. After half an hour of clocking in, Cheng Yan lay on the hillside waiting for the clocking in time to end. But as time went by, Cheng Yan felt something was not right. After standing up, Cheng Yan was surprised to find that he seemed to be surrounded by wolves. What was going on? This wolf pack wanted to make trouble for me? The wolf pack besieged the tiger? Cheng Yan was full of doubts. He had never seen a wolf pack dare to attack a tiger. Even in the Daxing Mountains, the Wolf King and the wolf pack of more than 100 adult male wolves there did not besiege him. Because the wolf pack knew that it would cost a lot to besiege a tiger, and generally would not take the initiative to attack a large predator like a tiger. Although there were many wolves here, there were only more than 30, and they were prairie wolves. Compared with forest wolves, prairie wolves are much smaller in size, but more than 30 prairie wolves dared to besiege a tiger, and the largest Siberian tiger among tigers. Cheng Yan thought that this wolf pack might have lost its mind, but thinking that these prairie wolves had never seen a tiger, Cheng Yan chose to forgive their IQ. But if these wolves want to attack him, Cheng Yan will not be polite. Chapter 72. Cheng Yan looked at the wolves that were gradually surrounding him, and glanced at the clock in countdown. There were only 2 minutes left before he could successfully clock in. Roar! Cheng Yan first let out a tiger roar to warn the wolves. Now the clock in countdown was almost up, and he didn't want to leave here and fail to clock in. If he could scare off the wolves with a tiger roar, it would be the best. If not, Cheng Yan planned to delay for a while and start fighting on this hillside. He was big and occupied a high position, so he could defend better than the wolf pack. Cheng Yan's tiger roar did indeed shock the wolf pack, causing them to stop surrounding him. However, the largest wolf in the wolf pack let out a wolf howl, and under the call of the wolf howl, the wolves recovered from the shock of the tiger roar. At this time, the wolf pack had surrounded Cheng Yan. On a small hillside, Cheng Yan was at the top of the highest hillside. A few dozen meters below him, more than 30 adult prairie wolves had formed a line of defense. If Cheng Yan wanted to go down this small hill, in addition to jumping down from the broken part at the back, he could only fight his way out of the wolf pack's encirclement. However, what surprised Cheng Yan was that these wolves did not attack immediately after forming an encirclement, but seemed to be waiting for something. Since they don't attack first, I'll do it first. When the punch-in countdown ended, Cheng Yan immediately took action and rushed towards the wolf pack below. These wolves wanted to surround him, which proved that they regarded him as a hunting target, and unlike the wolf packs they encountered in the Daxing Mountains before, this wolf pack obviously had ideas about Cheng Yan. In this case, Cheng Yan would not be polite. Cheng Yan's speed was very fast, and he rushed over a distance of dozens of meters in an instant. The 4 wolves facing Cheng Yan head-on were not Cheng Yan's opponents at all. 4 wolves can solve one with a slap. With the current strength, a slap would instantly kill this prairie wolf that was not as big as a Mongolian mastiff. After getting rid of the 4 prairie wolves, the other wolves also surrounded them. Even though they had seen the fate of their companions, these wolves did not show any fear. They might be afraid before the fight, but after the fight, they would not retreat without the order of the Wolf King. Cheng Yan's strength and speed were much stronger than these prairie wolves, but there were too many of them, and Cheng Yan could not avoid all the attacks. His hind legs and back were scratched and bitten by the prairie wolves, but fortunately, Cheng Yan punched in so many times, and the physical attribute points he obtained were not in vain. Compared with the strength and speed attribute points, the physical attribute points are not as biased, but they are all-round improvements. Adding a little physical attribute point can improve Cheng Yan's strength and speed, and also make Cheng Yan more resistant to attacks and stronger. In addition to the fact that his body size has not grown, it can be said that the physical attribute point is the most important attribute point. With so many attribute points, Cheng Yan's body has grown a lot because he has eaten a lot of special mountain delicacies and precious fruits. Even if these prairie wolves bite him, they can't bite off a piece of meat, and at most they will leave a few blood holes. After being bitten and scratched by these prairie wolves, Cheng Yan couldn't help but let out a low roar. Since he became a tiger, except for being bitten by a poisonous snake and being poisoned once, he has never been injured. This aroused Cheng Yan's anger and also stimulated the wildness in Cheng Yan's tiger body. After becoming a tiger, Cheng Yan has no worries about food and water because of the system, and his life is happy. Even if he occasionally practices hunting, he treats it as a game and basically doesn't take it seriously, which also leads to Cheng Yan's tiger body not being able to exert its abilities. As he was injured, Cheng Yan's anger was full, and his attack methods and movements became more and more like a tiger. Sometimes he didn't react, and his body subconsciously dodged the attack, followed by a slap back. The muscle memory of Cheng Yan's tiger body. Normally, Cheng Yan was controlled by his own consciousness, which overwhelmed the autonomous actions of muscle memory, but now muscle memory has completely controlled Cheng Yan's tiger body. When Cheng Yan turned into a tiger, he was a big tiger more than 2 meters long. He didn't know how old his original body was, but a tiger that could live alone was at least sub-adult. Sub-adult tigers can already hunt alone. They may not have as much experience as those adult tigers who have lived for many years, but they are definitely better than Cheng Yan in various attack techniques. With the control of muscle memory and his extremely strong body, Cheng Yan killed more than 20 of the more than 30 prairie wolves in just a moment. At this time, there were only 11 wolves and a wolf king left out of the more than 30 wolves. Although this wolf king was also a wolf king, he was much weaker than the wolf king in the Daxing Mountains who led more than 300 wolves. Whether in terms of size or other aspects, he was not as good as the wolf king, and this wolf king might not even be able to defeat the 7 elite wolves over there. Even though the wolf pack had suffered serious losses at this time, the wolf king and the wolf pack had no intention of retreating and still wanted to fight with Cheng Yan. However, a wolf howl was heard not far away, and the wolf king was relieved when he heard the howl, and then he also let out a howl. After hearing the howl, the wolves that were fighting with Cheng Yan began to retreat one after another. In the end, only 7 ordinary prairie wolves and the wolf king retreated. Cheng Yan, whose wildness was aroused, wanted to rush forward to continue the attack, but the pain on his body reminded him that he was injured and bleeding. If he continued to run, the wound might be aggravated. In the end, Cheng Yan had no choice but to stop and not continue the pursuit. After taking a look at the wound on his body, Cheng Yan felt that the wound seemed to be getting more and more painful, and for a moment, Cheng Yan grimaced in pain. Being bitten by a wolf like this, whether he was a human in his previous life or a tiger in this life, this was the first time so far. Cheng Yan, grimacing in pain, slowly walked down the hillside. There was no need to pay attention to the wolf corpses on the hillside. In this wild where predators are everywhere, it won't take long for these wolf corpses to turn into dry bones. Cheng Yan remembered that there was a cave under the hillside. He saw it when he passed by before he came to check in, but he didn't go in to check because he was busy checking in. At that time, there was still the smell of predators here, but when these wolves came to besiege, Cheng Yan already knew that this was probably where the wolves lived. Now the wolves have been beaten into a rout by him, and the cave should be safe. Chapter 73. Cheng Yan walked into the cave and found a lot of animal carcasses in the cave. These should be the carcasses of prey eaten by the wolves that lived here before. Although he was a little disgusted, Cheng Yan had no choice at this time. He was injured. Although it was not particularly serious, he had to rest and wait for the injury to recover. Fortunately, there was enough food in Cheng Yan's system space, so he would not be short of food even during the recovery period. In winter, Siberian tigers need to fatten up and survive the winter, so they have to eat more than 10 to 20 kilograms of meat every day to increase energy and resist the cold. The weather now does not need to resist the cold, and Cheng Yan does not need to eat meat every day to replenish energy, but now he is injured again. If he wants the wound to recover quickly, he has to start eating a lot again. Walking into the cave, Cheng Yan found a place to lie down and rest, while recalling the various fighting skills that his body had played in the previous battle. Before, Cheng Yan was a human, and it was difficult to walk after becoming a tiger. It took a long time to adapt to it, but he basically only knew one thing in fighting, that is, slapping with his palm. That is to say, his speed and strength are strong enough, and a slap can basically solve the battle. Otherwise, he would not have suffered until now. After this experience, Cheng Yan felt that he had to familiarize himself with the muscle memory in his body, so as to prevent being besieged again in the future. His language of all things is not always useful. This time, Cheng Yan did not use the language of all things to communicate because he felt that this wolf pack was full of hostility towards him from the beginning. The language of all things can only allow Cheng Yan to communicate with other creatures. In such a situation where they are full of hostility from the beginning, these animals will not think of communicating to solve the problem. In nature, strength is the most important. At the most critical moment, only a fight can determine who wins. This is the most perfect communication. Just like this time, Cheng Yan beat a wolf pack like this. If he meets this wolf pack again in the future, even if their size has expanded again, they will not have any thoughts about Cheng Yan. During this day, Cheng Yan did not go out of the cave. Even if there were some predators fighting for wolf corpses above his head occasionally, Cheng Yan did not step out of the cave. Now the most important thing is to recover from the injury. The predators above also discovered Cheng Yan's presence. Even though Cheng Yan was bleeding, it was a great temptation for them. But Cheng Yan's size and the breath of a top predator and the bloody smell left after a fight were enough to deter them. Unconsciously, Cheng Yan fell asleep. For Cheng Yan, the only way to recover from his injury was to sleep. When he woke up, it was already late at night. Cheng Yan found that his injuries had improved a lot, at least he was no longer bleeding. When he fell asleep, Cheng Yan didn't feel much, but after waking up, he felt the pain in his body again, which made Cheng Yan a little irritable. If there were any blind animals to provoke him at this time, Cheng Yan would probably kill the other party directly. After waking up, Cheng Yan felt hungry, knowing that his body had consumed a lot of energy to recover from the injury, and now he urgently needed to replenish it. Cheng Yan immediately took out a large piece of beef from the system space and started eating. Beef, a protein-rich food, is very popular with tigers, especially when they are in urgent need of replenishing a lot of energy. Eating beef is a good choice. After eating a full 10 kilograms of beef and drinking a small bucket of water, Cheng Yan stopped. Then he began to lie down and rest, waiting for today's punch-in task to refresh. Although he was injured now, Cheng Yan didn't want to miss the punch-in task. He now attaches great importance to the attribute points rewarded by the punch-in task. Cheng Yan's previous injuries were not serious, but in just one night, Cheng Yan felt much better. There is no doubt that his physical attribute points must have worked. In addition to driving the strength of the body, the increase in physical attribute points also drives the increase in recovery ability. Now Cheng Yan's recovery speed is already amazing. Now Cheng Yan's injuries may only take 2 or 3 days to heal. If it is other Siberian tigers, with sufficient food, it may take half a month to recover. After the check-in task was refreshed, Cheng Yan finally perked up. He first checked the location of the check-in task. It was not too far from him, 3 kilometers away. Fortunately, Cheng Yan felt that it was acceptable. He was injured now, so he couldn't run, but walking slowly would not affect the wound too much. Cheng Yan got up and started to walk to the check-in location. Fang walked slowly, slower than when he strolled on the prairie before. After walking a few steps, Cheng Yan's teeth were crooked and his wounds would be pulled. Fortunately, Cheng Yan's current size is the largest predator on the prairie, and other predators dare not provoke him, otherwise Cheng Yan's current state would probably attract many predators. It took Cheng Yan 2 hours to walk these 3 kilometers slowly. The check-in location is a grassland, and there are some rodents, rabbits, and pikas around. This made Cheng Yan feel relieved. There are so many little guys in these places, which proves that this is not the territory of those predators. Otherwise, if he encounters any predators again, he will really have a headache in his current state. It's not that he can't continue to fight now. If there is any wolf siege again, he can still attack regardless of his injuries. But then I will definitely be more seriously injured. If I can avoid fighting now, I will not fight. It is the best choice to take good care of my injuries. Walking to the check-in place, Cheng Yan started to check in, and silently prayed that the reward for this check-in would be 2 attribute points. It would be best if they were all attribute points for physical fitness. But Cheng Yan was disappointed that the check-in time this time was only 15 minutes. Although there is still a chance to get attribute points in 15 minutes, the time is too short, and even if you get it, it will be at most 1 point. It's okay, it's okay. If there is a chance to get a little attribute point, a little is fine, it's better than nothing. Cheng Yan could only comfort himself. After lying on the spot for 15 minutes, Cheng Yan's check-in this time ended smoothly, which really fulfilled Cheng Yan's wish, a little physical attribute point. Just after getting the attribute points, Cheng Yan felt that his injuries seemed to have improved a little, and he could clearly feel that the pain was much lighter. This discovery made Cheng Yan very happy, and at the same time he despised the reward for yesterday's check-in. Yesterday he was besieged by wolves, and he punched in for half an hour, but in the end he was rewarded with 2 million in cash. In addition to the cash reward he received before, he now has a lot of cash rewards, but this thing is useless to him. Except for taking up space in the system space, it has no other use. Chapter 74. After gaining a physical attribute point, Cheng Yan felt that his body was much better and he was not in so much pain, which made Cheng Yan very happy. Cheng Yan, who was much more relaxed, was finally not as listless as before and did not want to move. Cheng Yan tried to run 2 steps to see if his body would still pull the wound when he ran. He found that the wound on his body seemed to no longer deepen because of his running, which made Cheng Yan excited to run on the prairie and chase the grass rabbits and pikas around him. Although he did not think about catching them and it was difficult to catch them, Cheng Yan felt that it was pretty good to see them run into the cave in fear, and his mood became better. After playing for a while, Cheng Yan stopped only after all the grass rabbits and pikas around had run into the cave. After looking around, Cheng Yan chose a direction and walked in that direction. He had been waiting all day yesterday, and the smell in that cave was really not good. He had enough, and he was not going to go back today. Anyway, with his current injuries, even if he rested outside, no predator would bother him. Even if he really met someone who was blind and dared to come and bother him, he would let the other party see what the power of a tiger is. No, Cheng Yan's strength is much stronger than other Siberian tigers now, and he can even reach the power of 3 tigers. Basically, few animals can withstand a slap. Animals that can withstand it will not appear on this Bell Prairie. After walking for 3 or 4 hours, Cheng Yan came to a hill, where there was no strong smell of predators. As for the remaining smell, it was probably left by passing predators. After coming here, Cheng Yan was going to rest on this hill. But just when he came up, Cheng Yan looked around and saw a wasteland. In this place where grass grows everywhere, an empty wasteland is particularly conspicuous. Except for a few trees that look like they are about to die, there is no other vegetation growing. This scene aroused Cheng Yan's curiosity. He looked around and confirmed that there were no traces of predators. Cheng Yan walked towards the wasteland. Cheng Yan came to the wasteland and sniffed first to see if there was any animal smell here. Hey, this smell? After sniffing, Cheng Yan found that there were many kinds of residual smells here, but most of them were quite light. Basically they could be regarded as those left by people who passed by here recently. But there was a smell that was particularly strong, which proved that this animal had been here for a long time, otherwise it would not have left such a strong smell. Cheng Yan was a little familiar with this smell, which was similar to the smell of the moose he had met before. Is this smell left by a moose? Is there a moose living here? Cheng Yan was a little confused. Generally speaking, moose do not live on these prairies. They prefer to live in woods and swamps. The moose he met on the road before was also on the prairie, but there was a forest not far away from there, and the Daxing Mountains were a little further away. Therefore, Cheng Yan did not feel anything wrong. But this place was deep in the Bell Prairie, and moose should not live here. Although this was a prairie, there was grass everywhere, and moose had no shortage of food. But now, except for the remaining smell, there was no trace of the moose, and no one knew where it had gone. The moose was so big, and Cheng Yan was on the hill just now. If it was around, Cheng Yan would definitely be able to see it at a glance. Cheng Yan sniffed around with curiosity, and from a stronger smell, he smelled that the moose went to the west. Cheng Yan came from the east, which means that if Cheng Yan continued to move forward, he might be able to meet the moose. After thinking for a while, Cheng Yan decided to take a rest first. He had been walking for a long time today. Although his injuries had improved a lot due to the strengthening of his physical attributes, they were not completely healed after all. It was best to take a rest. Anyway, Cheng Yan already knew the direction of the moose's movement, so he could go over and take a look. There was no rush. With the size of the moose, if it was still in its prime, it could roam across the grassland, provided that it would not encounter a Siberian tiger running around like Cheng Yan. Otherwise, a moose in its prime basically has no natural enemies, but Siberian tigers generally do not attack moose because they are too big, so even if they can beat them, there is no need. Only young and old moose will be attacked by wolves and brown bears. If a moose can live here alone and is not afraid of wolves, then this moose is likely to be in the prime of life. As long as Cheng Yan goes in that direction, he will always meet it. After a rest, the sky darkened, and Cheng Yan had no intention of setting out at night, even though the night had little impact on him. He slept in this wasteland, and the next day, before dawn, Cheng Yan got up and set out. After a night's rest, Cheng Yan's injuries had almost healed, and now even if Cheng Yan ran at full speed, he would not be affected by the injuries. He kept moving forward for a long time, until the punch-in task was refreshed. Cheng Yan did not find any trace of the moose. There was no way, Cheng Yan could only prepare to complete the punch-in task first. Whether he could see the moose was just to satisfy his curiosity, and if he couldn't see it, he wouldn't see it. He looked at the punch-in location, which was 10 kilometers away from his current location, and it was almost the same direction that Cheng Yan was heading. Now he was heading due east, so the punch-in location was a little south of due east. After Cheng Yan knew the check-in location, he started running slowly. It wouldn't take Cheng Yan too long to reach the 10-kilometer distance, but while on the way, Cheng Yan finally saw the moose. Cheng Yan was shocked just by looking at the moose from a distance. He had seen large animals before, such as the wild boar king that weighed at least 1,000 pounds, and the reindeer king. Both of these big guys were extremely large. Even now, Cheng Yan's size seemed much smaller than them. But the size of the moose in front of him was even larger than the reindeer king and the wild boar king. The moose that Cheng Yan saw before was slightly larger than an ordinary SUV, but the size of this moose was 2/3 larger than that one. This moose walked like an off-road vehicle that could walk. Is this a moose king? Cheng Yan looked at the huge moose in front of him and began to wonder if this moose was the moose king. Only the king of this species could be so much bigger than other moose of the same species. Chapter 75. This super large moose has also discovered Cheng Yan. After all, a big white tiger is very conspicuous on this green grassland. However, even though it knew it was just a tiger, the moose did not react much. Except for stopping and staring at Cheng Yan for a while at the beginning, it continued its actions. When the Moose King turned his head to look at Cheng Yan also discovered the situation of the moose. It seemed a little wrong. Although it was very big, Cheng Yan could feel from its appearance that the moose seemed to be very old, and a breath of old age was exuding. An old moose? Cheng Yan was really curious now. As far as he knew, old and weak moose were the most likely to be attacked by wolves and brown bears, because at this time, although their size was still so huge, their speed would decrease in all directions. With the size of the moose, catching one would be enough for them to eat for a long time. But this old moose was walking alone on the Bell Prairie, and walked such a long distance, and was not attacked by wolves. Or rather, he attacked, but was sent away by the old moose. Cheng Yan quickened his pace and caught up with the moose. When he walked to the side of the moose, the old moose suddenly called out. At first, Cheng Yan did not react, but when the second call sounded, Cheng Yan had already opened the language of all things and understood what the old moose said. Moose. Cheng Yan immediately reacted when he heard this. The old moose was indeed the Moose King as he thought. Generally speaking, only the king of the race would know about the Mountain King. Roar Moose King. I am no longer the king now. There is already a new king. I am dying of old age. The old moose's plain words revealed the news that he was about to die. This news made Cheng Yan pause in his walking. So far, it was the first time he had seen an animal about to die of old age. In this cruel nature, the possibility of animals dying of old age is not very high, because often at this time, due to their own age, all aspects of the body are in an extremely weak state. This state will attract various predators, and even large animals such as moose will face various threats when they are young and old. After walking in silence for a while, when he was about to reach the check-in point, Cheng Yan let out a low roar. Where are you going now? The old moose looked at the big tiger that was no longer walking. I'm going to the heart of the grassland, where I plan to sleep. Hey? Hearing the old moose's answer, Cheng Yan was stunned, and then immediately asked in a low roar. The heart of the grassland? What is that place? I don't know, but every generation of kings who are about to die of old age will go there. As long as you keep moving in this direction, you can get there. After saying this, the old moose did not stop, and continued to move forward. Cheng Yan looked at the old moose gradually moving away and fell into deep thought. The heart of the grassland. Another strange place, a place that the old Moose King would pursue before his death, must be extraordinary. Maybe it is a place with Yongchun stone. Yongchun stone can turn the Daxing Mountains in winter into a place like spring all year round. Whether it is temperature or living environment, it is very suitable for most animals. This shows how magical it is. I just don't know what is so magical about the heart of the grassland. Cheng Yan didn't catch up, but he knew clearly that his system was the biggest golden finger. What Yongchun stone, what heart of the grassland must not be as good as his system. Completing the system punch-in task every day is the best choice. In addition, it is not impossible to go to the heart of the grassland. After he finishes the punch-in, just walk in this direction. The old Moose King said that as long as you keep walking in this direction, you can reach it. Start punching in, 20 minutes of punching time. After waiting here for 20 minutes in boredom, today's punch-in is finally over, but Cheng Yan is silent after seeing the system reward. Damn it! Another reward of cash. What do I need so much cash for? This is the third time. Cheng Yan is a little angry. The punch-in rewards of this system are too random. The key is whether they are useful every time. Last time, I was given 2 million for a half-hour punch-in time, and this time I was given 1 million for a 20-minute punch-in time. The longer the punch-in time, the greater the hope of good things. It is indeed true that half an hour has twice the reward of 20 minutes. But let alone twice the reward, what can he do with it? He can't use it. He doesn't even know if the money is black money. Last time he gave it to those few 100,000 per person, and I don't know if they are in trouble. Cheng Yan was depressed and used his claws to dig a few times on the grass on the ground, tearing off a lot of it. In the end, the more he thought about it, the angrier he got. Cheng Yan ran wildly, chasing rabbits, pikas and groundhogs. After venting his anger, Cheng Yan remembered the important matter, the heart of the grassland that the old Moose King was looking for. Cheng Yan started to walk in the direction where the old Moose King was going. Hey? Disappeared? Did I take the wrong road? Cheng Yan sniffed the smell in the air and couldn't help wondering. Is the old Moose King so fast? It took him 20 minutes to check in and more than 10 minutes to chase those small animals, which added up to less than half an hour. But he has been walking for almost 2 hours now, and he didn't catch up with the old Moose King. You have to know that the old Moose King is very old and almost dead. It has to rest after walking for a while, and it may even need to rest for a day or two to recover. But this time, Cheng Yan only walked more than half an hour ahead of Cheng Yan, but he couldn't catch up. It was just the smell left in the air that told Cheng Yan that the old Moose King had passed by this place. Although the smell was very faint because it was just walking by, Cheng Yan's sensitive nose could still smell the smell of the old Moose King. After walking for more than an hour, Cheng Yan still didn't catch up with the old Moose King, but he smelled the smell of other animals, the smell of predators. These predator smells are numerous and strong, and they overlap with the smell of the old Moose King. Cheng Yan guessed that this should be a wolf pack targeting the old Moose King. On the Bell Prairie, only the wolf pack has the courage and ability to attack the moose. Although he knew there were wolves, Cheng Yan was not worried now. The fact that the old Moose King could come here alone with its old body proved that the previous wolves did not dare to attack it, or they were defeated if they did. Since the previous wolves were able to let the old Moose King come here safely, it is estimated that this time they will not be able to do anything to it. Chapter 76. Although he was not very worried about the safety of the old Moose King, Cheng Yan still sped up. He was just walking, but now he started to run. With Cheng Yan's speed, even if he was not running at full speed, it was amazing enough. After running for more than 10 minutes, Cheng Yan finally saw the old Moose King, but the old Moose King did not seem to be in a very good state at this time. Because it was now surrounded by wolves, there were nearly 100 adult male prairie wolves over there. But now the 100 wolves did not seem to be in the same group. In addition to more than 20 prairie wolves surrounding the Moose King, the other prairie wolves were confronting each other. They were divided into two groups, one with more than 50 and the other with only more than 20. However, the more than 20 prairie wolves surrounding the old Moose King seemed to belong to a wolf pack with fewer wolves. In other words, there is currently a wolf pack with more than 50 wolves, and the other wolf pack has only more than 40 wolves. This number can be said to be a huge wolf pack on the Bell Prairie, and there must be a wolf king among them. Cheng Yan scanned the two wolf packs for a few times and found the wolf king. The size of these two wolf kings was much larger than that of other wolves. They were even as strong as the elite wolves in the Daxing Mountains. You should know that the wolves here are all grassland wolves, which are smaller than forest wolves. The fact that grassland wolves can reach the elite size of forest wolves is enough to prove that the wolf king here is still very strong. After all, the advantage in size is very powerful. Are the two wolf packs going to fight? Cheng Yan looked at the scene in front of him and shook his tail with interest. In nature, there have been conflicts between wolf packs. They are often caused by battles between territories. After all, the resources in the territory are rich, so they can live well and the wolf pack can grow and develop. In this scene, Cheng Yan guessed that a wolf pack should have come here to follow the trail of the old Moose King. This place does not belong to the territory of that wolf pack. Then the old Moose King was very big, and other wolf packs invaded the territory, which led to the wolf packs that originally belonged to this place gathering together to drive away the other wolf packs that invaded the territory. The wolf kings in the smaller wolf packs felt a little difficult at this time. They did not want to invade here, but just chased the old Moose King. After all, Their numbers were obviously not as many as the wolf packs here, and they could not beat them in terms of combat power, but the old Moose King was too big. As long as they could get it, they could have a full meal for a long time. Cheng Yan watched for a long time and found that they had not started fighting yet, and he was a little anxious. Are they going to fight or not? I want to watch the show. Although the old Moose King was surrounded by wolves, Cheng Yan was not worried at all. As long as the fight started, the wolf pack would definitely not care about it. Even if some blind wolves attacked it, they would not be its opponent. One hoof could kill a wolf. When Cheng Yan couldn't help but open his mouth and roar, asking them whether they were going to fight or not. The wolf king of the smaller wolf pack howled, and then the wolf pack retreated. Cheng Yan's mind was full of question marks. No, I'm ready to take out snacks from the system space to watch the show, and you tell me not to fight? Seeing that this wolf pack really completely withdrew from this area, Cheng Yan was a little depressed, but only a little. That wolf pack retreated, but this wolf pack here did not retreat. They don't have to fight with other wolf packs now, and they can just deal with this super large moose. After all, the old moose is not fast and has poor physical strength, so it is relatively easy for the wolf pack to hunt it. However, the wolf pack obviously thought too much. This moose is not an ordinary old moose, but a moose king. Even though it is old, it is not so easy to deal with it. Even if it is dealt with, it will definitely suffer heavy losses. Seeing this situation, Cheng Yan didn't care about watching the show. He still wanted this old Moose King to take him to the heart of the grassland. He stood up and roared. Roar! The deterrent power of the tiger roar, which was strengthened 3 times, was still very strong, and it shocked the wolf pack in an instant. However, after all, this wolf pack has a wolf king, and the wolf king is obviously still powerful. He was not shocked. The wolf king let out a wolf howl, which made many wolves come back to their senses. The wolf king looked at Cheng Yan, who was approaching slowly with fear. Although he had never seen a Siberian tiger, as the wolf king of one of the strongest wolf packs on the Bell Prairie, he could clearly sense how strong this big guy was. At this time, Cheng Yan was not afraid of these wolves. Although he had just been attacked by a pack of more than 30 wolves, he was injured, but he was inexperienced at the beginning. After the control of muscle memory and thinking for a long time, Cheng Yan is now much stronger than before. In addition, there is the old Moose King next to him. It should not be a big problem for the two of them to kill this wolf pack together. Even if he is injured again, it will not be serious and he will be able to recover in a day or 2. Awoo! The Wolf King stared at Cheng Yan intently. When he was about to get close to them, he let out a wolf howl and then rushed over. The speed of the Wolf King was just so for Cheng Yan, and he had enough time to react and respond. Originally, he wanted to kill the Wolf King with a slap, but Cheng Yan found that the surrounding wolves did not seem to have the intention to besiege, so he restrained his strength. He did not open the language of all things, so he did not know what the wolf howl just now meant, but from the appearance of the surrounding wolves, it seemed that they were not prepared to surround and kill him and the old Moose King. Therefore, Cheng Yan was not going to kill the Wolf King. After all, killing the Wolf King meant that he would make enemies with this wolf pack. They would definitely take revenge on Cheng Yan. Even if they could not win, they would still attack him. Even though Cheng Yan restrained his strength, he still knocked the Wolf King to the ground with this slap, and he could not get up for a long time. These Wolf Kings knew Cheng Yan's strength thoroughly. After a long time, the Wolf King barely got up, and then let out a wolf howl, and their wolf pack began to retreat. Cheng Yan looked at the retreating wolf pack without any surprise. In fact, this was the normal choice of the wolf pack on weekdays. Under normal circumstances, the wolf pack would not attack large animals, because even if they could hunt successfully, they would suffer losses, especially against top predators. The wolf pack would generally give in to avoid fighting with them. Last time, Cheng Yan was completely regarded by the Wolf King and the wolf pack as wanting to destroy the root of their wolf pack, so he fought desperately. When a wolf pack has cubs, the mother wolf will live with the cubs, and the male wolves will go out to hunt. The Wolf King will usually stay to protect the mother wolf, and will only go out occasionally, leaving the mother wolf and the cubs behind. Last time the Wolf King went out, Cheng Yan, the top predator, appeared at the place where the mother wolf and the cubs were, causing the Wolf King and the wolf pack to misunderstand that Cheng Yan was going to attack them. The roots of the wolf pack are the mother wolf and the cubs. If the mother wolf is gone, their pack is likely to die out year by year. Chapter 77. The wolf pack in front of him retreated, avoiding Cheng Yan, the top predator. For an old moose, it was unnecessary to sacrifice the entire wolf pack. After all, with such a large number of wolves, they can basically walk sideways on this prairie. Even if they hunt large prey such as cattle, sheep, and horses guarded by sheepdogs, they can easily succeed. After the wolf pack retreated, Cheng Yan saw that the old moose king just glanced at him and then continued to move forward. Cheng Yan was a little stunned. He saved this old guy after all, but he actually saved him directly. There was no way to wait for this old moose king to find the heart of the grassland. In addition, this old moose king was really about to die of old age. Cheng Yan could only forget it. He didn't care. At this time, the old moose king's condition was getting worse and worse. Cheng Yan could see that it was holding on and might fall down at any time. It was for this reason that the old moose king did not speak to Cheng Yan, because it might not be able to move forward after speaking. Cheng Yan was a little anxious when he saw the old moose king's shaky figure. Where is the heart of the grassland? Why haven't we reached it yet? It was almost dark when the old moose king walked, but he still didn't reach the heart of the grassland. Finally, he couldn't walk anymore and had to stop to rest. On a flat grassland, the old moose king lay down and began to rest. He didn't make any extra movements and ignored Cheng Yan. Seeing that the old moose king was resting at this time, Cheng Yan stopped. He was afraid that the old moose king would fall down while walking. Now the old moose king had begun to rest, which made Cheng Yan feel relieved. Although the sun had not completely set at this time, it was only in the last afterglow of the sunset, but it was not much different from the time when Cheng Yan was about to rest on weekdays. Cheng Yan also lay down to rest next to him. When resting, Cheng Yan was a little regretful that he didn't see the fight between two large wolf packs. What a pity! This kind of fight might be the most exciting scene he has ever seen, perhaps even more exciting than the movies he has seen before. Even in the animal world he has seen before, this kind of thing has never happened. Thinking about various things in his mind, Cheng Yan fell asleep unknowingly. When Cheng Yan woke up, he was awakened by the actions of the old moose king. The old moose king had stood up again without knowing when, and set out on the journey to the heart of the grassland again. Cheng Yan looked at the old moose king in a daze. He had not yet completely woken up from his sleep, and the sudden action of the old moose king really surprised him. He knew that moose only needed to sleep 2 or 3 hours a day, and the time and place of sleeping were not fixed. As long as it felt safe, it could sleep. But this old moose king was so old, let alone sleeping only 2 or 3 hours, even if it slept for 7 or 8 hours, Cheng Yan would not be surprised. Because it wants to recover its strength, it must get enough rest. It is too old, and its recovery speed has slowed down too much. Although surprised, Cheng Yan still followed, even though the sky was still dark at this time. Except for the bright moon and stars in the sky, the whole prairie was pitch dark. Walking on this dark prairie, nocturnal animals and birds of prey occasionally appeared on the road, but they were just passing by. No one wanted to attack the huge old moose king and Cheng Yan, the top predator. At first, the old moose king probably looked good because he had rested for a while, but as he walked longer, he began to shake again. Cheng Yan wanted to stop him many times, but he swallowed the words when they came to his lips. The old moose king has lived for so many years, and he knows what he wants to do best. Cheng Yan knows that speaking is useless. When the moon in the sky falls into the mountains and the morning sun full of vitality appears, the prairie seems to be illuminated by hope. Cheng Yan looked at the sun in the distance, and it rose again. Even though he had only seen a few sunrises, these few times made Cheng Yan feel very surprised. Cheng Yan, who was watching the sunrise, suddenly heard a plop. Cheng Yan immediately turned his head to look at the old moose king, only to see that it had fallen to the ground. He hurried over, but Cheng Yan found that the old moose king had stopped breathing. It took only 2 or 3 seconds from the time he heard the sound to the time he ran over. In such a short time, it stopped breathing. Cheng Yan stretched out his tiger paw and tried to push the old moose king, but it did not respond at all. Cheng Yan stood aside a little at a loss. After he became a tiger, he had seen animals die, and he even killed many of them. Animals, there are also larger animals, wild boars and wolves have been killed. But it was the first time he saw an animal fall in front of him, not because of external forces, but because its own vitality had reached the end. This feeling is not good. If it is because of external injuries, Cheng Yan can also help. The reason why most animals in the animal world are injured and die is not other things, but mainly because they are unable to protect themselves after being injured, and finally die in the mouths of some predators, or die from wounds without enough food. If there is enough food, their self-healing ability is very strong, and many injuries can be recovered. But this kind of death with the end of vitality, no one can help. Cheng Yan looked at the fallen old Moose King, and couldn't help feeling a trace of sadness in his heart. The king of a race, because he was extremely old, had other kings appearing, and could go to the place where kings of all generations wanted to go and wait for death in peace. But he fell on the road, in this vibrant sunrise. This reminded Cheng Yan of himself. He had turned into an albino Siberian tiger. The lifespan of a tiger is only about 20 years. If he was in such a situation after 20 years, what would happen? Would he die in the mouth of some predators or die naturally? Roar! Cheng Yan roared, and this roar lasted for a long time. After Cheng Yan calmed down, he glanced at the old Moose King, then turned around and continued to walk forward. He wanted to see what the legendary heart of the grassland had the ability to attract the king of the moose race to go there when each generation was about to die of old age. Before, he might have just wanted to go there out of curiosity about a magical place, but this time Cheng Yan wanted to see how magical it was to fall there. As for the body of the old Moose King, Cheng Yan didn't care. The bodies of animals that died on the prairie would eventually become dry bones. No matter whether they were buried or placed anywhere, they could not escape this fate. Chapter 78. Cheng Yan was walking on the prairie. Today, he rarely checked the punch-in task immediately. He walked for an unknown period of time. When the sun rose to the sky, he checked the punch-in task for the first time. What surprised Cheng Yan was that he had not walked past his punch-in task location, not even to the place where he had to go. He had been walking for several hours. At his speed, he had walked at least 20 to 30 kilometers on the prairie. But he was still 15 kilometers away from the punch-in location. In other words, the punch-in task location this time was 30 to 40 kilometers away. This was the first time he had encountered such a long distance. The previous task locations were basically a few kilometers or more than 10 kilometers away. This time, the punch-in location should be the location of the heart of the prairie, right? Cheng Yan thought about the various things he had encountered when punching in before. His system often had special places at the punch-in task locations every time, and some things happened even when there were no special places. This time, the punch-in task location was so far away for the first time, so according to the previous calculations, it was likely to be a special place. As the old Moose King said, as long as you follow this direction, you can reach the heart of the grassland. So this time's check-in location is likely to be the heart of the grassland. Cheng Yan thought it was pretty good. He was still worried about where the heart of the grassland was. This time's check-in task could help him confirm it. Cheng Yan sped up and ran straight to the check-in location. It didn't take Cheng Yan too long to run to the 15-kilometer distance. On a hillside, Cheng Yan stared at the swamp below. A short distance down is his check-in location this time, but it's just a swamp. The environment of the swamp is not as beautiful as other places in the prairie. Is this the heart of the grassland? The place that the old Moose King has been thinking about? Cheng Yan walked down the hillside slowly and walked towards the swamp that might be the heart of the grassland. The smell of this swamp is not pleasant, at least for Cheng Yan, it is too bad. If he had not become a tiger for several months and had been accustomed to the smell of many environments, he might have been very sensitive to the smell and stayed away from here. Cheng Yan came to the edge of the swamp and started to punch in. The 45-minute punch-in time made Cheng Yan a little excited. While counting down the punch-in time, Cheng Yan was also observing the various creatures in the swamp. Although it was just a rough look, there are indeed many creatures living here, and there are many species. Reindeer, white cranes, steppe eagles, Mongolian gazelles, these animals are just part of this place. However, although there are many animals here, the distance from the heart of the grassland, where every generation of old Moose Kings want to sleep, is still a bit large. Cheng Yan began to suspect that this is not the heart of the grassland, because he has not found anything special so far, it is just an ordinary swamp. Moose like to live in forests and swamps. Although this is also a swamp, moose can live here. But there is no need for them to leave their own place and cross the prairie. They do not like to live here, because there is no need. During the 45 minutes of clocking in, Cheng Yan has been observing the surroundings, but he has never found anything that can attract the old Moose King to come here to sleep. Cheng Yan even doubted whether the old Moose Kings of all generations had come here. They only came here when they were about to die of old age. On the way, they were easily attacked by wolves. Even though the old moose kings of all generations were large in size and strong in strength, they could deal with small-scale wolf attacks, but they were already there at that age, and their various body functions had declined to the extreme. Facing the attack of a large wolf pack, they would definitely not be able to escape the fate of being besieged to death. As the clocking in time ended, Cheng Yan first looked at the reward, 3 attribute points, and 3 attribute points were added. This reward surprised Cheng Yan again. This reward is not bad. Attribute points are of course good things, but it is different from what he imagined. Just like when Cheng Yan checked in at Yongchun Stone before, the reward he got was Yongchun Stone. Although he had only used it once so far, Yongchun Stone was a real treasure. As long as Cheng Yan wanted to settle there, he could release it and slowly change the surrounding environment, making the surrounding environment spring-like all year round, suitable for various animals to survive, and also grow various special mountain plants. After Cheng Yan came here and started to check in, he was looking forward to some good things as rewards, but the result was just attribute points. This made him a little too disappointed. Today's punch-in task is over. Cheng Yan looked at the swamp in front of him and slowly walked into it. The swamp is also one of the places that the Siberian tiger likes, and it is also a place very suitable for tigers to survive. After Cheng Yan came here, of course, he was as comfortable as a tiger entering the forest. Although the animals here have basically never seen tigers, the breath of the top predator exuded by Cheng Yan is enough to let them know that there is another existence at the top of the food chain in this swamp. Strolling in this swamp, Cheng Yan found many rare animals on the grassland, including the extremely rare first-level protected red-crowned crane. The black secondary flight feathers and the vermilion head, white feathers, make it look very beautiful. If it were any other time, Cheng Yan would want to get closer to see the rare big bird, the red-crowned crane, but now he is not in a good mood, so he just took a few glances and continued to stroll in this swamp. Cheng Yan unknowingly strolled to a relatively open area, where there were no other animals except for smaller rodents. But this place made Cheng Yan stop. In this open area, there are many horns, moose horns. And they are all extremely large moose horns. This is really the heart of the grassland where the old Moose King wants to sleep. Although it looks like an ordinary swamp, it has attracted countless generations of old Moose Kings to sleep here. Before they died, their horns fell off and piled up here. This is the proof that they sleep here. It's just a pity that the old Moose King did not come here, and he fell down on the road. Cheng Yan felt a little complicated for a while. Although there is nothing special here, it is the best place to sleep in the eyes of the old Moose King, but he fell down on the last section of the road. If the old Moose King can hold on for another day, he can also come here. Chapter 79. Cheng Yan walked leisurely on the vast grassland and headed for today's punch-in task location. It has been 10 days since he left the Prairie Heart Swamp. During this time, Cheng Yan chased rabbits and horses on the grassland every day. Occasionally, he would take advantage of the absence of herders to run to their yurts to find something to eat. He found the opportunity to eat frozen goat milk and the roasted lamb legs and lamb chops that he had been thinking about, although he scared several herders who were roasting lamb legs. After eating these, Cheng Yan felt that the barbecue and roasted whole lamb he had eaten in his previous life were all fake. It was also lamb, but the taste of this lamb was extremely delicious, the meat was tender, and there was no smell of mutton. Only a little cumin and salt grains were added to show the deliciousness of lamb. There is also frozen goat milk. Cheng Yan has never eaten such delicious milk. It's right. Just like eating popsicles, Cheng Yan was just attracted by the taste when he found this thing. But after taking it out and licking it a few times, Cheng Yan felt that what he found was too delicious. The taste of goat milk was far better than all the milk-flavored popsicles he had eaten in his previous life. It was completely different. If Cheng Yan hadn't made a lot of noise when he was looking for something in the yurt, and a herdsman came to check it out with a gun, Cheng Yan would probably have finished all the frozen goat milk stored there before leaving. Even so, after leaving, Cheng Yan still missed it. From time to time, he wanted to try his luck with the herdsman to see if there was a chance to eat frozen goat milk again. These days made Cheng Yan extremely happy. He ate well and played well every day. The days were so beautiful that Cheng Yan almost forgot that he was a rare white Siberian tiger. However, when Cheng Yan saw people running to the prairie to play twice, he knew that he should leave here. When Cheng Yan saw people coming to the prairie to play for the first time, he didn't think anything of it. He just thought it was spring and someone came to the prairie for a spring outing. But Cheng Yan found that they seemed to be not just here to play, but were looking for something besides their daily play. Especially when they saw Cheng Yan, they took out a camera and took pictures of him crazily. When he saw the camera, Cheng Yan knew that these people probably heard about him from somewhere, so they came to the prairie to find him. He was lucky, as he only met tourists who came to play, not the research team. These tourists knew that he appeared on the Bell Prairie, and those in the research team must have known it, and they might even have touched him and observed him, but he didn't notice it. Since discovering this situation, Cheng Yan has been walking outside the prairie. He walks a long distance every day. Now he is not injured, and it is not a difficult road in the snowy mountains and forests. He can walk dozens or hundreds of distances every day. This distance is several times more than the distance that other Siberian tigers walk in a day. It was enough to confuse the research teams, because if they didn't follow him all the time, they wouldn't find out the distance he moved every day. If they studied him according to the general Siberian tiger, they would definitely fall behind his speed. However, it could only confuse them for a short time. Cheng Yan was not sure whether there were any research teams targeting him. Anyway, he hadn't found anything yet. The vision on the prairie was too wide. With his strong vision ability, he could find out if there were any people by looking around. There were no drones or anything like that in the sky. Today's check-in task was Cheng Yan's last day on the prairie, because this was already the edge of the Bell Prairie. After walking a distance, there would be other places. Cheng Yan's goal was to walk through the mountains and forests away from the town. It didn't need to be a big forest, just enough to cover his traces. When he arrived at the check-in place, Cheng Yan completed the last check-in on the prairie and gained 2 attribute points. After taking a look at the prairie behind him, Cheng Yan didn't hesitate. While there were no cars, he crossed the road in front of him and ran forward. His system map showed that there was a forest not far from here. Cheng Yan passed through this area at a very fast speed and came to this small forest. After arriving here, Cheng Yan breathed a sigh of relief. At least for the time being, he didn't have to worry about being discovered by the research team. For tigers, forests are the best place to protect them, and Cheng Yan is no exception. Although Cheng Yan is an albino Siberian tiger, albino Siberian tigers are not suitable for survival in forests because they are not easy to hunt, but all this does not affect Cheng Yan. Cheng Yan does not need to hunt to get food. He was in the forest just to prevent being seen by others. Walking along the edge of the forest, Cheng Yan slowed down, started to stroll around, and at the same time observed what animals were in this forest. After strolling for a while, Cheng Yan found 4 little boys gathering together on the side of the road doing something. This made Cheng Yan a little curious, and he moved over there. Bang! Bang! Cheng Yan's ears moved, and the sound came from the 4 little boys. They were playing with firecrackers. Then Cheng Yan saw that these children were holding something in their hands and shooting it at the tree not far from him. With a light bang, Cheng Yan understood that this was a sky-piercing monkey, and these little boys were playing with firecrackers and sky-piercing monkeys. But these little boys ran away after the sky-piercing monkey exploded, which made Cheng Yan a little confused. Then he looked at the place where the sky-piercing monkey exploded just now. On a small tree, there was half a beehive hanging on the branch at this time. Blaze! Damn it! A few little brats are waiting for me to knock on your door in the middle of the night. When Cheng Yan saw the beehive, he understood that these little brats were using the sky-piercing monkey to blow up the beehive, and the key was that they hit it. But Cheng Yan was the closest creature to the beehive at this time, so the angry bees immediately rushed towards Cheng Yan. Cheng Yan turned around and ran, instantly pulling his speed to the maximum. That is, Cheng Yan's speed is very fast, and he is a tiger. Even if he runs in the mountains and forests, his speed can reach the maximum, so he escaped the pursuit of the bees. But it was hard for the animals on the road. Many animals suffered from the disaster and were stung by the honey. They were swollen a lot. On the top of the mountain, Cheng Yan exhaled and looked behind him. The bees finally stopped chasing him. These unlucky kids, why not do something else? They had to blow up the beehive and almost pitted him. If he was really stung by a bee, he might really run over to scare these kids. But now there is nothing to do, Cheng Yan is too lazy to run to scare those little brats. Chapter 80. Cheng Yan watched the sun gradually set on the top of the mountain, shook his tail, and was busy all day, ready to go down the mountain to find a place to rest. This mountain top is too conspicuous, Cheng Yan is not going to sleep on the top of the mountain. After walking down the mountain, Cheng Yan found a place in the forest and lay down to rest. When Cheng Yan woke up again, the sun had not yet risen. After stretching, Cheng Yan walked into the depths of the forest. He was not going to go out now, and the forest was more suitable for him. Now his body is too big, almost 3 meters long, and you know that this does not include his tail. The average adult Siberian tiger is only close to 3 meters long, including the tail. Cheng Yan's body length including the tail has now reached more than 3 meters, comparable to a miniature car. Now Cheng Yan walks on the road, just like a car driving, plus Cheng Yan's white fur is too conspicuous. As long as he walks on the main road, people can see him from a distance. This is not a good thing for Cheng Yan. Before, his size was only normal among his kind, but because of the albino Siberian tiger, it was enough to attract people's attention. Now his size has grown so big in a short period of time. As long as he shows up, more people will definitely stare at him. This is also the reason why Cheng Yan left immediately and ran into the forest after he found someone looking for him on the prairie. After strolling in the forest for a long time, Cheng Yan waited for today's punch-in task, which was 5 kilometers away from his current location. After seeing the task location clearly, Cheng Yan started walking in that direction. However, as Cheng Yan got closer to his destination, he felt something was wrong. This is a small forest, not as big as the Daxing Mountains, and the species are not as rich as those in the Daxing Mountains, but there are also many animals. But the closer he got to his destination, the quieter it became. Some animals and birds that live during the day often make noises on weekdays, but there was no sound here at all. Cheng Yan could tell from the smell that they had been here before. There was even a little smell of various animals in the air, but it was very faint. This meant that they seemed to have left here. But to make these animals move away collectively, something must have happened in this area. Cheng Yan was alert and continued to walk towards his destination. He was not the same as before. After a big battle, he was familiar with the muscle memory of his original body, and with his increasingly strong body, Cheng Yan could now be called the king of the forest. In this forest, it was difficult for animals to threaten Cheng Yan. Cheng Yan came to the check-in location, an ordinary forest, with nothing special except a cave not far away. Thinking of what happened on the prairie last time, Cheng Yan went to the cave first. The cave was empty now, and there were no animals in it, but Cheng Yan had already smelled it from the smell. There is a predator living here. It usually lives here, but it is not here now. It should have gone out to look for food. Cheng Yan did not pay much attention to it after finding it was just a predator. He turned around and went back to the check-in place to check in. Seeing the check-in time, Cheng Yan looked at it twice in disbelief. Finally, he confirmed that it was true. 1 hour of check-in time. Although the longer the check-in time, the better the things, but by comparison, the chance of getting good things is very high. The best things Cheng Yan got before were the language of all things and Yongchun stone. The check-in time was 1 hour at that time. Before, Cheng Yan checked in at the heart of the prairie on the prairie. He was full of expectations and thought it was a special place. As a result, the check-in time was only 45 minutes, and he only got 3 attribute points. Now the check-in time is 1 hour. If you get good things, it may be as powerful as Yongchun stone and the language of all things. Looking at the countdown, Cheng Yan began to look forward to the reward this time. Roar. At this time, a roar of an animal came from a distance, followed by the wailing of an animal. Cheng Yan looked in the direction where the sound came from. He could already tell what animal it was, and also knew what animal had lived in the cave next to it. This was the roar of a bear. This bear should have gone out hunting just now. It is spring now, and the bears have just finished hibernation, which is the time when they are the hungriest. At this time, whether it is a black bear or a brown bear, the bears are extremely terrifying, because they basically want to eat whatever they see at this time. If it is a black bear, it will not even let go of wild vegetables, such as ferns, mountain celery and other wild vegetables. Of course, compared to wild vegetables, they definitely prefer meat. If someone goes up the mountain and meets a black bear at this time, if they don't have weapons, then they can basically declare that they are dead. Tigers may ignore humans after they are full, but black bears are not necessarily. Sometimes they will hunt even if they are full. Humans are also on the black bear's food list. As time passed, a dark shadow gradually approached from the direction of the bear's roar. Cheng Yan has good eyesight and saw what kind of bear it was from a distance, but his pupils shrank when he saw this black bear. A black bear was walking towards this side with a silly roe deer in its mouth. Cheng Yan was not surprised, because he had just known that this was a bear hunting, and the cave was also the residence of this bear. But what surprised Cheng Yan was the size of this black bear. Black bears are generally relatively small in size. The size of a black bear is not enough to face a Siberian tiger, let alone a brown bear. Black bears are usually only half the size of brown bears, but the size of the black bear in front of Cheng Yan was completely beyond his expectations. Cheng Yan had seen brown bears before, even if they were still in hibernation or had just ended hibernation, they were much smaller than before, but brown bears were brown bears, and they were much larger than Cheng Yan at that time. But this black bear was as big as two brown bears, and even Cheng Yan now was no match for this black bear in size. If the previous brown bears would treat black bears as food, then this black bear could also treat brown bears as food, the difference in size was too big. At this time, the black bear had seen Cheng Yan, and it put down the silly roe deer in its mouth, staring at Cheng Yan with fierce eyes. Cheng Yan glanced at the punch-in countdown, and there was still half an hour left. This half an hour was a bit difficult. Cheng Yan sighed inwardly and was ready to fight this black bear. But before the fight, he wanted to try to communicate. Based on the size of the black bear, Cheng Yan guessed that it was probably the king of the black bears in this area, so Cheng Yan was ready to communicate with it in the language of all things. If he could check in without a fight, Cheng Yan certainly didn't want to fight.